down to Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried for the kickoff. We'll see you at half.
Auburn's Tigers. Alabama's Crimson Tide. From every corner of the state. From infants to great-grandfolks. From every walk of life. On this day, every man, every woman, every child of the state comes together for one common reason: to be divided.
And that will be forever ingrained in the lore of this rivalry. It is in the air. It has shifted. It's good! It's good! It's good! It's good! It's good! It's good! It is over. Auburn has come from behind to beat arch rival Alabama.
Auburn wins number 315.
Alabama has beaten Auburn.
Will not be won the first quarter, man. This is the Auburn-Alabama game. It'll take 4 quarters. And it'll take you playing 4 quarters. I hope they play their best game. They play their best game. Because that's what we've been practicing for. You lay it on the line. Keep your composure. If something happens.
SEC West title, a conference championship game berth, a big-time bowl bid, perhaps even the alliance, but that means nothing to them for now. For 4-6 Alabama, one clear and simple mission is left to salvage this season: just beat Auburn. The 62nd edition of the Iron Bowl when we come back. Tonight, from a jam-packed Hare Stadium on the plains in southeastern Alabama, the number 13th ranked Auburn Tigers play host to cross-state rival, the Alabama Crimson Tide, at what is affectionately known as the Iron Bowl, the 62nd time they will have met. For the fans, they started arriving last Sunday so that they could conquer and possess their spot for tailgating for the entire week. The atmosphere, well, it's sheer bedlam, and it has been since on Thursday evening when folks started arriving in earnest. And what does it mean? Well, it means, just as the tease said, one of the things that is a constant on this night or this afternoon when they play, they come to disagree. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin. Welcome once again to Saturday primetime college football here on ESPN. As we like to say each and every year about this football game, every year on this date, the state of Alabama stands still for 3 hours because Auburn and Alabama are getting together. And why? Well, when you move to this state, or if you are born in this state, what happens is you have to declare. So you're either a Crimson Tide fan or you're an Auburn Tiger fan. Mike Gottfried joins me on the telecast as usual tonight. And Mike, when you look at this Auburn football team, Damian Craig, no quarterback in the top 25, is depended on more than he is. Almost 80% of the offense comes from him.
And Ron, last week in the Georgia game, you're exactly right, but they got the ball to Fred Beasley and ran the football and took a lot of pressure off of Damian Craig. Now, we talked to Damian Craig the other day, and you talk about the importance of this football game. He said, my career will be measured by this game tonight. That's how important it is to him.
Big thing for Alabama, though. Fernando Bryant at one corner, Deshae Townsend at the other. Both two of the best in the SEC are so banged up they may not be able to go. Is that where Auburn picks first tonight?
I think you start by running the football, but you go after Bryant and Deshae Townsend. If they're hurt, they haven't practiced, you try them out early.
As far as Alabama's offense is concerned, a young man by the name of Lance Tucker started only last week. He's going to be the starting quarterback tonight. Are you surprised at that?
Little surprised, because Freddie Kitchens has had success in this game, but Lance Tucker brings a new weapon, the running ability, the option. Lance Tucker is very productive. He was productive last week against Mississippi State. And this ball club tonight has to do well in the first 7 minutes, Ron, because they're like a fighter who's overmatched. They have to have success early in this ball game, because they're not a comeback football team.
The two head coaches, Mike DeBose, first season, you can see the numbers, 4 and 6. And across the way, Terry Bowden. 2-2 against Bama. 44 wins, 11 losses, his record. Auburn won the toss. They deferred to the second half. So it will be Alabama receiving. 57 degrees. Rain is out of the area. Heavy rain yesterday. Wind not a factor. 30% chance of rain tonight, but the weatherman guaranteed this afternoon, or close to guaranteed anyway, that we will have a pleasant evening for this 62nd Iron Bowl Classic. Jared Holmes to kick it off for Auburn. Richard and Bryant, the two deep men. This is going to go out of the back of the end zone. In fact, it hit the upright. And let's check it on the sideline with Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
Ron, thank you. Because history can motivate so much in this game, consider how similar this game is to the 1984 Iron Bowl when Alabama took the field with identical losing records they have tonight, 4-6. Auburn was in the top 20, number 11 that night, and Alabama with nothing to lose didn't. They upset Auburn 17-15, shocked a lot of people. That has become Alabama's motivation tonight, to be the first Crimson Tide football team to come to Auburn and win.
Noise is absolutely deafening in the stadium. Alexander in motion at the throwback. They get it across the middle, and that's Quincy Jackson on the quick screen. It'll go for 6 yards. And the tackle made. As we take a look at offensively, this is how they start. Tucker, the senior out of Fayette, Alabama. Curtis Alexander and Ed Sisson are the two running backs. The receivers, well, the tight end Rutledge, he is an outstanding one. They will try to get to him 5 or 6 times tonight. Paul and Goss, the wideouts. And the offensive line, incumbent upon these gentlemen, Samuels, Friend, Hogan, Meadows, and Ray, to do an outstanding job. Hogan has started every game, and he's only a freshman. Number 74 out of Valdosta, Georgia. Goss in motion. Alexander spins off one tackle, but that will be it as Curtis is stopped by Jeff Dunlap and also Ricky Neal. Defensively for the Tigers, Dunlap, Dorsey, and Carson. Dunlap only a freshman. The linebackers very, very active. Reese, Neal, Spikes, and Taylor. And in the secondary, Nolan, Casher was starting. We're surprised. He didn't even work out on Thursday as an ankle injury. Houston and Ware rounding out the secondary. We'll keep an eye because Jason Bray, number 4, would replace him if Casher can't go. Quick pass. Got it on the mark. Good for the first down out of the 31-yard line to Goss. And Tucker proving why they chose him as the starter tonight.
Yeah, he's a very active quarterback, Ron. He can run the football. He has good skills throwing the ball short. Now, they need some big plays tonight because they're not a team. They haven't shown to be a team to take the ball the length of the field, 80, 85 yards for touchdowns.
2 for 29 yards for Tucker in the early going. Jackson in motion. Go with the running play. Curtis Alexander, number 91, Charles Dorsey, the nose tackle, comes up to make the hit on him. And there is a marker across the way. Astor Sizemore, the referee tonight.
There's no flag.
Ron, a lot of movement by Alabama. They're trying to confuse Auburn by motioning people, and I think what happened on that play, and the officials had to confer whether they had enough people on the line of scrimmage with the movement they had.
So Astor Sizemore waves it off. It is second down. They need to take it to the 41-yard line. As you get a close look at Charles Dorsey, the junior out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, playing at the nose guard position. Curtis Alexander tries to go left. There's nothing there. He maybe has a yard, and it's Dorsey again. Also number 6, Ryan Taylor, junior out of Dublin, Georgia, who plays the right side linebacking spot, coming over to make the double tackle.
Ron, here's what I'm talking about, because Alabama wants to show a lot of movement to this Auburn defense. They moved to tight end over to the other side, then they motion the wide receiver, again trying to confuse the secondary and keep the safeties out of the running game.
Third down. As we mentioned, the line to make is the 41. Rutledge, the tight end, flips from the right side over to the left. In the shotgun, Tucker looks at a blitz, throws back, and overthrows his receiver. That was Dennis Riddle, who they had flexed out about 12 yards on the right, the running back, and it will be kicking time for the Crimson Tide. Daniel Pope, sophomore, will do the punting. You see his numbers, just over 43 yards a kick, and this is Markeith Cooper. He does the returns for them. Had a separated shoulder at a time during the season. They don't use him as much at running back, but still as a return guy. And here's the kick by Pope. Kicks it away from Cooper. And it's going to bound and go out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. Well executed on the punt and nothing on the return for the Auburn Tigers. "31 yards in the kick as we take a look at the starters. Damian Craig at quarterback. It'll have DeMontre Carter, the freshman who had such a great game last week against Georgia, and the steady one, senior Fred Beasley at fullback. The receivers, McLeod, the tight end, Karsten Bailey, big touchdown last week against Georgia, along with Ty Goodson. The offensive line, this is a good group. James probably grading as well as anybody up there. Riley at the other tackle, very good, and the two, Kendall Simmons and T.J. Dunnigan, along with Curry, getting the starts there in the middle. The running play, not one. Puts it on his hip for the play action. Has 5, has 10, pushed out of bounds after a gain of 14 yards. And here comes a flag. He hit him well out of bounds. Good for 17, and now hang by for another 15. And that's going to be Andre Short, who will make it a 32-yard play on the first snap from scrimmage.
What makes this a good play is
the dead ball. Personal foul, late hit out of bounds on the defense for 15 yards.
First down to run the fake. Damian Craig's going to do a great job of faking the ball on the sprint draw. Look at him look back at the running back, which is the key. Now you've got the hands in probably your best, the ball in the hands of the best running back. And then there's the late hit on Damian Craig. On Andrew Short, number 23, just hit him a little late.
Eric Lowe, number 8, at the top of your screen as you look once again at Andre Short, the senior out of LaGrange, Georgia. Line of scrimmage is the 35 of Alabama. Counter trade. They go to the right side, and a loss on the play as DeMontre Carter hit by Steve Harris, number 43. Harris, a junior from Town Creek, was a linebacker, and they moved him to defensive end. Defensively for the Alabama Crimson Tide, Smith, Curley, Panks, Chris Hood, and he is another one that's had to work his way back. He's been injured. I don't know how long he can go tonight. Horn, Carroll, and Smith, the linebackers. And in the secondary, we mentioned Bryant and Townsend, both more than Nick. They are injured, but they're playing tonight because it's the Iron Bowl. Spencer and Sigler are the safeties. There's a good look right there at Fernando. He's got at least 3 injuries that he's playing with. Craig, set, throws long, got a man. Flag is down, too long for Karsten Bailey.
Well, you asked earlier about whether they were going to try Deshae Townsend. Now, Deshae Townsend didn't practice much this week. He's got a hamstring. I was watching practice Thursday. He practiced very little Thursday. They're going to try him right off the bat here in the first quarter. Karsten Bailey, and they're going to get a pass interference on him. Damian Craig trying to throw the deep route, the streak route to Karsten Bailey. There's the push by Deshae Townsend when the ball was in the air. Pass interference on Townsend. Again, Ron, both these corners are banged up. A hamstring by Deshae Townsend, a concussion by Fernando Bryant, a shoulder separation.
That drive started at the 33. The first run was 17. Then add on a 15-yard penalty. Now another penalty against Alabama, and 2/3 of this drive already, as the ball sitting at the 15, has been made up of penalties against the Crimson Tide. I don't think Auburn needs any help.
No, you can't make those mistakes. I said earlier that I think in this ball game, when you're playing in a rivalry football game, you're 4-6, and you're doubting yourself a little bit. You need success early in this ball game. The first 7 minutes critical. If Auburn punches this one in, look out.
So they actually push the ball back to the 22-yard line. That is the starting point for the Auburn Tigers as we're about to go under 10 minutes to play in this opening quarter. And now more discussions about where the ball should be placed.
I think it runs a 25-second clock. It was down to 6 seconds when they broke the huddle.
There's a timeout. Timeout charge to the team for illegal equipment.
Well, illegal equipment. They might have, again, not covering the knee with the knee pad. Sometimes receivers will do that. And I believe they're charging to a timeout.
Everybody's looking down at their knees. Yeah. We're told that it is Ty Goodson, number 83, that did not have his trousers pulled down far enough below his knees. So while there's a timeout, we'll take it with him. Timeout on the field, no score. 10:51 to play opening quarter. ESPN's presentation of college football, Alabama versus Auburn, is brought to you by Wrangler, real comfortable jeans, and by Discus Athletic, the brand that lets you compete on every field. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten back in Auburn, Alabama. The 62nd meeting between these two football teams. And the Auburn Tigers setting up for the first down of the ball just outside the 22-yard line. The timeout charged against Auburn because Goodson's pants did not come down below his knees, although Goodson argued with that, and the official had already charged him with the timeout. They go with the running play. Pitch back. Carter turns the corner at the 20 to the 19 before Kevin Sigler gets to him.
Ron, here was the last play. Fernando Bryant, number 25, the corner. He's going to point out to the official about Tyrone Goodson. Now, the official catches Tyrone Goodson. Look at him. He just tries to get it down as quick as he can. A little bit too slow, and he got the penalty. Now he's arguing his case. So Fernando became an official for a play.
Well, probably what Goodson is saying is, hey, I got bad legs. You can't tell where my knees are anyway. Oh, my. Didn't Tommy, before he left to go to Tulane, didn't he call him Bones? Wasn't that his nickname? I think so. Beasley. Airborne down to around the 15-yard line. Steve Stanley comes up to make the hit on him. Also Travis Carroll, number 44.
Same type of game plan that they opened the game against Georgia last week. Damian Craig on the first play running the football. You look at the first nine games, what they did run the football last week. Took a lot of pressure off Damian Craig with the 159 yards rushing.
9 minutes and 37 seconds left to play opening quarter. Alabama had the football, picked up one first down, then had to kick it away down to the 33. Simmons in the backfield. There's a blocker. Beasley left side at the 10, caught by the shoulder pad. He'll have the first down. Otherwise, he would have scored.
Ron, this all started after the Mississippi State game. Fred Beasley was talking to Rodney Allison, the offensive coordinator. Fred Beasley was standing in the door when they were having their offensive meeting, and he had a sad look on his face, and they asked him what was wrong, and he said, I carried the ball 4 times for 6 yards. He said, I can help us win if we can run the football and commit to it. And they decided with the open date to go back to the running game. Fred Beasley has become a big part of that run game.
There you see the numbers on the season inside the 20. 23 touchdowns and 8 field goals. Carter hit in the backfield, and I mean, he is assaulted by Kenny Smith. Wow, what a hit.
Well, Kenny Smith was not blocked or came off a block late and leveled the 5'11", 174-pound freshman. Just came off a block. Kenny Smith, 290-pound freshman. A lot of freshmen playing for Alabama. Well, as many as 6 in their lineup at one time defensively.
DeMontre Carter giving up 120 pounds on that exchange, and I'm sure he's feeling like, I hope we don't have that scenario again. Second down following the loss. Play action. Craig under pressure, and here's where he hurts you. Still scrambling, trying to get away from Carroll, throws it away, and no flag. Are going to say incomplete pass. Stanley and Carroll both coming after Damian Craig, and that's where he just gives you fits.
He couldn't get turned, though, Ron. The difference in this play is he couldn't get his body turned. Fakes the ball to the right side now to get good pressure from the backside. Now you see he can't get turned. Now he can't get his body turned to get anything under it. Travis Carroll, 44, forces him out.
very hard, as you know, running in the opposite direction to get your shoulders turned to throw the ball well, and he was very smart. He just threw it right over the head of Clifton Robinson. Hicks Poor checks into the lineup for Auburn, number 89. It's third down. They need to score, or they have to go for the field goal. They cannot pick up a first down unless by penalty, and Goodson incomplete at the corner of the end zone, and that was Deshae Townsend who had the cover on him.
Little smash route on the corner on the side. Hicks Poor stays in the flat. Tyrone Goodson working against Deshae Townsend's going to run a corner route. Deshae Townsend, who didn't practice much, look at him, makes up the speed, gets his left arm up there, deflects the football.
They just read his eyes real nicely. Didn't make the move until the ball got there, so it's a 27-yard attempt from that right hash mark as Auburn tries to go on top. Holmes is ready. Good pass, and his kick is good. So let's take a timeout. 7 minutes. Clock is still running for some reason, and now they stop it. Timeout on the field. 7:54 left in this opening quarter. It is Auburn 3 and Alabama nothing. 3-0. Auburn goes on top following that field goal of 27 yards by Holmes, and now he will kick it off to either Bryant or Richard.
Ron, this is big. Every time he kicks the ball in the end zone, and Alabama has to start at the 20-yard line. The last drive, as you mentioned, 31 yards on penalties.
26 rushing. Good job, actually. Kind of a moral victory for the Crimson Tide defense to keep them out of the end zone. And he has done it again. Holmes sends this one, well, 9-10 yards deep, and Fernando Bryant can do nothing about that one.
Jared Holmes is worth his weight in gold by doing that, kicking in the end zone and making Alabama go distance.
Freddie Kitchens, last year one of the combatants who led Alabama to victory. You see his numbers, 51%, 596 career against Auburn, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
And I look for him, Ron, if they get behind by a number of points, that you'll see Freddie Kitchens, because he throws the ball better downfield.
Tight end Rutledge flips from the left side over to the right, and it's a draw play. Curtis Alexander. Dunlop got blocked off the play, but then it's going to be Reese coming over to make the tackle. Quentin, a sophomore out of right up the road in Birmingham. Dunlap was in position to make the tackle, and he got picked off, and Reese was right behind him to make the stop, so it's going to be very short yardage. Alabama, though, I think you'll continue to see them pick away at the running game, because when you look at the running backs that they can hit you with, and Riddle, Sean Alexander, and Curtis Alexander, anyone can break one on any play. Plus the fact I think Mike is figuring to keep the ball away from Auburn. Curtis Alexander tries to turn the corner. Short yardage again as Antoine Nolan, number 13, came up in that quarterback spot to make the hit. Now it's third down, and they have to take it to the 30 to keep this drive going.
Again, a lot of movement by Alabama to try to confuse and to try to get somebody to make a mistake in run support. But so far, Auburn has adapted defensively to what they've been shown by Alabama's movement.
Bruce Arians said when we visited with him, he said, let's be real honest. We need a big play. We need to maybe even get a cheap one to get out in front of this ball game.
And Auburn doesn't give up many big plays.
Tucker with the give to Alexander. Flag is down. He is just destroyed at the line of scrimmage by Charles Dorsey. Now, if this is against Auburn, it's going to give the Crimson Tide their second first down of this ball game.
There was a dead ball, illegal motion on the offensive line.
It was motion, no, and that's the reason for the movement by Auburn as well.
Mike DuBose knows his ball club, and visiting with him on Thursday, watching practice at Alabama, know they can't make mistakes in this football game here at Auburn tonight.
Third down and now 9. Tucker will move back and take this one from a shotgun formation as you look into the eyes of Tequila Spikes. Tucker drills it and almost intercepted by Ricky Neal. Good heavens, ball hit him right in the chest.
Well, Ricky Neal has had a great year as a linebacker for Auburn University. showing blitz, then drops out in zone coverage. He's just looking to the hook zone. Ball's thrown right to him. He just jumps a little bit and takes his eye off the football.
Liberal arts major out of Daytona. First kick was 31 yards. Now, he did kick it out of bounds to keep the return away from Markeith Cooper. Almost got the return on, and I'll tell you, safety valve man almost got to that thing. Cooper lets it bounce. Now going to pick it up, and he pays the price as he gets his head knocked right out of bounds. So there's a timeout. Let's take it with him. 5:49 left, opening quarter. Auburn 3, Alabama nothing. We're back in Auburn, Alabama. Jordan Hare Stadium filled to capacity, as you might imagine. 3-0. Auburn has gone on front with a 27-yard field goal, and a couple of situations that Bama has kind of dodged it so far. That interception that could have been dropped by Neal, and then the Tigers having to go for the field goal rather than the touchdown with the first and goal. That came off a defensive play, great one by Kenny Smith. Here's a pass, Gibson, and Antoine Hunter will come up and make the tackle on him, trying to pull the ball away at the 46-yard line. It's good for 9.
Now, we talked about Deshae Townsend being hurt. Now all of a sudden they bring in Antoine Hunter at the corner, and you see the cushion that he's given Tyrone Goodson. So I would expect that Damian Craig and the offensive staff are going to try out Antoine Hunter a whole bunch here in this first half.
Well, the notes on him is junior college transfer. They say he is a good cover guy, still learning as far as run support.
Yeah, he played in junior college, Georgia Military, and then signed to Clemson. Clemson wouldn't take his D's, and the Clemson coaches called Alabama, and they decided to take him here.
Ball is loose as the play is dead as it was picked up. Travis Carroll is the man who made the hit.
I think it'll be interesting, Ron, and watching how Auburn tries to attack him. You always want to know when Alabama has two great corners, and Fernando Bryant, Deshae Townsend, everybody knows that they've been playing very well, but everybody knows they're hurt. And now all of a sudden you get Antoine Hunter in there. He hasn't played much this year, a junior college guy, and you just go try him out, see what he can do.
First downs, you can see the total 5 for the Tigers, 1 for the Crimson Tide. And on that play, Kenny Smith jumped offside to get a free one, so he's going to take it downtown, and Karsten Daly is double covered.
And what you do if you're Alabama, you try to help Antoine Hunter with safety over the top, Kelvin Ziegler. But Alabama offside, so they get a free play. Kenny Smith jumped.
Jordan Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten coming to you. We're going to repeat first down here. It'll be 1st and 5. It's 4 penalties. I actually thought it was 5, but that's, they say, 4 penalties against Mike Dubow's football team early. And on the last drive, certainly it helped tremendously. But that time, Kenny Smith on the right side just got a little too anxious and jumped offside.
Well, he can do a lot of things on 1st and 5.
See the blitz coming in the middle. That was Carroll. They picked him up. Craig in trouble, and he is going to be sacked. And it's 43 Steve Harris, and we talked about him. They've made a defensive end out of him, but he was a high school linebacker. That's how they recruited him. So he has speed.
And good pressure again by Alabama on the 1st and 5, figuring that Auburn might try something to throw in the football. Steve Harris just with good pressure, not picked up by the Auburn line, and a good sack.
Pat on the head by his teammates for Harris. That's a loss of 11, so it's going to be a 2nd down and a very long way for the Auburn Tigers. In fact, about 15, 16 yards to pick it up as the offensive line converses on the sideline where they get a little bit of a breather. Friend, Meadows and company. I don't think they got that one off. They didn't. 5 more yards going to be marked off against the Tigers. Now, one of the things in this ball game that they really try to guard against.
Delay a game on the offense. It'll be 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Is somebody else picking up signals. So they've got at least 1 dummy, if not 2 dummy signals going on. And Terry talked about this at practice on Thursday, that he wanted to make sure that although you got 3 different guys doing it, that it doesn't slow down the process.
And you don't mean those dummies giving the signals. You mean they're dummy signals. But as you look at Auburn, they know each other so well. They watch all their tapes. They watch their games. Coaches know each other. They got to change a lot of signals to this game.
Quarterback draw by Craig. 5, 7, 8, and he is out of bounds about a yard shy of the first down. Marcus Spencer. I'm sorry, that's the first stake he is just short of. Do you remember they had the 11-yard loss?
And Ron, you know, there's 3:16 to go here in the first quarter. This has been dominated by Auburn, but they only have 3 points. So you got to feel good if you're Mike DuBose at this point, because your ball club 4 penalties for 41 yards. You missed it. They threw the ball right to Neal, the linebacker, and he dropped it. So they're hanging in there, and they need to play well here early in the ball game.
Look at Alabama jamming up at the line of scrimmage. They have got 9 folks in the box. Man coverage on the outside. Craig going to throw a fade route, and Karsten Bailey ran about a 12-yard out. Total miscommunication on that one. And it will be punting time. And the Auburn Tigers had great field position, and they really just missed a super opportunity here.
And they blocked it very well. Karsten Bailey just runs the wrong route according to Damian Craig's throw.
Goes deep for Alabama.
62, the longest punt of the year for Holmes, and they're coming after him, and he gets it away under pressure, and it is a dandy high spiral. Hits it to 5 and takes a big Alabama hop into the end zone. 52 yards on the kick. Well, don't forget college football later tonight on ESPN. 22nd ranked Colorado State trying to wrap up the WAC Pacific Division against San Diego State, and it comes your way just after 10:30 Eastern as soon as we finish up here at Auburn.
Starting again on the 20-yard line. The kicking game has pushed them back again.
Lance Tucker continues to go the way at quarterback for the Crimson Tide. Little play action this time. Gets it out to his tight end, Rutledge, and he caught it and then dropped the ball as he hit the ground. They're going to say it's a completion for 4 as Taylor made the hit. And that was one of the things that Alabama talked about. They really want to get Rutledge involved in this offense at least 5 or 6 times tonight.
Yeah, and Bruce Arians talked to us the other day. He said, I would hope that he'd have had 40 catches by now. That's not the case. As you said, they would like to get him 5. He's had 15 receptions this year, and he's not going to get 16 either.
They just took it away from him. They say, actually, he did not have possession. And the Bama side of the field, as you might imagine, in very harsh disagreement. Mike DuBose thinking, we got to get a break sometime in this ball game. And now timeout has been called by Tucker. So a timeout charge against the Crimson Tide. Let's take it with him. 2:51 left opening quarter. Auburn 3-0. So we're back here at Auburn at 2 minutes and 51 seconds showing on the clock that we have left to play in this opening quarter. Mike made the point just a moment ago. It's a 2nd and long since they took the throw away, that Alabama has not been in the ball game very much, but they're only down by 3 points. In a rivalry like this, the longer you let the underdog team stick around, you're headed for trouble.
Well, there's no doubt. And I felt like the first 7 minutes, Alabama had to stay in there and do some good things. And so far they're in. This is a replay of the pass to Rutledge. You know, I don't know how long they want him to have it for, but it did come out. He's got a better look than we had.
Yeah, he really does, because with the big body, it was hard to see if he was juggling the ball or twirling it or whatever. And I have a feeling that's what the official was calling. It was right on it. So anyway, incomplete pass, 2nd down, and 10 yards to go. Total yards for Alabama so far, 22, as Freddie Kitchens looks on. The senior out of Atala, waiting for his turn. Riddle in motion, top of your screen, and they reverse out Tucker. The longer he runs, the worse the situation, and it's almost intercepted. I think he should have tried to throw that one away. Jason Bray, closest man to it.
Ill-advised to make that throw, and again, Auburn had another chance to maybe intercept Lance Tucker. But when you run this type of play, Ron, when you come off the corner as the quarterback, Lance Tucker, he fakes, he comes off, he's looking for his tight end short first. He's not there. Then you run the football. You're throwing across your body. Here's the tight end. He's covered. Here's Calvin Hall. He's covered. And then you almost throw the interception. Big mistake.
2 of 6 for Tucker for 9 yards. He has missed his last 4. Then the shotgun. You see the twist up front for the defensive line, and that ball well off the mark. It could have been picked off. Taylor, for Auburn, the closest man to it. They'll have to punt again.
And you wonder how many times that you can put your defense in bad field position, and Alabama has not been able to move the ball on offense. And they're going to get the ball again with relatively good field position. Playing with fire with Damian Craig. You just don't want to give him that ball that many times around the 40, 45-yard line.
Cooper, the deep man, waiting for this kick by Polk, and they came after it, and it's his best kick. Spiral's not going to turn over, but Cooper all the way back at the 38. Got a little running room out to the 45, now the 46. Well, Tuesday night, the National Hockey League on ESPN2 from New York City. You remember 3 years ago, it was Mark Messier with head coach Mike Keenan leading the Rangers to the coveted Stanley Cup. Well, now they've returned to the Garden for the first time together since joining the Canucks of Vancouver. Emotions will be running high Tuesday night on the Deuce. So again, Bama 3 and out, and they continue to give Auburn good field position, but the Tigers really have not taken advantage of it. Blitz coming, swings out the pass, and he's got him. And running room. Rusty Williams at the sideline. Inside the 30s, down to the 24. Caught him in a blitz, and it's good for 30. Got the man coverage.
Damian Craig hits Rusty Williams on a flare pass, and Damian Craig said, "This is the biggest game of my life. I'll be measured by this game." Hits Rusty Williams. A bad angle by Travis Carroll, the freshman linebacker. Deshae Townsend finally in on the hit with Andre Short.
Craig now with an audible with the first down at the 24. His team on top, 3-0. Just under 2 minutes to play first quarter. Pitches it back to Carter, and he's going to be stopped right in his tracks by Chris Hood at the line of scrimmage. Hood, another one who has been injured and has been out, and they said they would just use him as long as they could tonight. And he's continuing to go. Made an outstanding play there.
Yeah, he's 90%, the coaches said, and he said they expect him to play half of the snaps. And Chris Hood said, even though 90%, I still think I can catch Damian Craig in a foot race. So I don't know about that.
Like I said, a blitz on that completed pass a moment ago, but actually the linebacker faked it and came off of it. But it's almost like the half step in was enough to be a half step behind. That's Williams in motion. Craig gets his pass complete to Bailey, I think. Beasley, I should say. Caught it, and he got whacked by Stanley and Carroll.
That was a good catch by Fred Beasley. He stayed right with it. Talk about the importance of the game. Damian Craig said he'll be measured by this. Fred Beasley said, "I can't make this game up. I'm a senior. It's my last shot at him." And Damian Craig again throwing off balance, Ron. Hits Fred Beasley to get him at least in 3rd and short.
Clock running. 35, now 34. 1 of 3 on 3rd down conversions tonight for the Tigers. Bama shows blitz. Here they come. Right at the middle. Untouched. Ball is knocked away. Bailey had it, and then Deshae Townsend knocked it away from him. Townsend, as we mentioned, playing with an injured hamstring.
Deshae Townsend's playing well, and Fernando Bryan on the other side, and Curly Hallman, the secondary coach, said they like to play man coverage. When I call zone, they do not like it. They want to be man coverage. And you see DeShafe Townsend knock the ball away from Karsten Bailey. Again, a good stop by the Alabama defense.
37 yards in this field goal attempt. Ball right in the middle of the field. Good pass, plenty of distance, and he's got it. Jared Holmes, 27 yards, and now 37 yards. And with 16 seconds left in the opening quarter, Auburn now on top 6-0.
The most valuable player in the first quarter, Jared Holmes, because he's kicked him in the hole and he's made the 2 field goals. He's punted him into the 20-yard line. So Jared Holmes has made and been a big factor in this football game.
Check down on the sideline with Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Ron, I've been keeping my eye on DeShafe Townsend, as you and Coach have been talking about him. A sigh of relief by the Auburn coaching staff because, yes, he had the hamstring injury. He did not practice much this week, but right up in about 5 minutes prior to kickoff, they were doing contrast whirlpool with him on that the back of his leg. The contrast hot and cold water actually loosened that up. Now, he's done a very, very good job in coverage here. On a couple of different series. There has been some rotation, but he's going to keep going here. And because the coverage has been so good, they're really confident now that he's going to play the rest of this game.
And I talked to the Alabama training staff the other day, and they said that they did not know how he would go in this ball game, but they did say it's his last go-around, and he's going to make every effort to play in this football game.
Well, it's interesting. You look at Bryant on the other side. He's a junior, but Bryant playing with a chronic separated shoulder and a broken bone in his hand. So I think it says a lot about how important the Iron Bowl is in the state of Alabama.
Walking wounded, prepare for this game, and Alabama's played well on defense.
Line drive. This one's not going to be out of the back of the end zone. Picked out by one of the upbacks at the 20. 30 and now 35, and a nice return. This is going to be the best field position that Alabama would have started with. As Sism, the fullback, picked it up and took it right up the middle.
Well, we talked about Jared Holmes, and he may be tired, but now Alabama has a first shot here in this ball game with good field position.
Well, look at this. Started at their own 20 3 times in a row because of Holmes. 6 plays, 16 yards in the opening drive, and 3 and out on the last 2 drives. Tucker continues to go at quarterback. Should be the last play of this opening quarter. Curtis Alexander turns the corner, and he will have 4, and that is the end of the opening quarter. So a timeout on the field, and as they change ends, it is Auburn 6 and the Alabama Crimson Tide nothing. And this, the 62nd Iron Bowl. The Crimson Tide bench, there are some smiles over there, although they're down by 6 points. Total yards in the first quarter, Alabama 27, Auburn 70. But the Tigers could only garner 2 field goals, 27 and 37 yards. Curtis Alexander, right side, is whacked down hard. Ricky Neal, one of the men there, number 50. Also down at the bottom of the stack.
We got a lot of good linebackers. That's Martavius Houston, the safety. And when you get those safeties up there so tight, again, Martavius Houston, we watched him against Georgia. He made tackle after tackle in that Georgia game on the running game of Jim Donnan, and he's doing the same thing tonight to Alabama.
3rd down, line to make the 49.5-yard line. They've made 1 out of 4 conversions tonight. Right up the middle, it is Alexander, breaks it, has 5, has 10, and he's off. Going to be pushed out of bounds inside the 30-yard line by Rob Pate, and that is what Alabama can do. When you talk about they've lost weapons on offense, they've got 3 outstanding tailbacks who can break it in one play.
Well, Curtis Alexander's the team's leading rusher, 6 touchdowns this year, and you see the little move in the hole and the missed tackle, then breaks out the good block by Chad Goss. Rob Pate finally knocks him out of bounds. But you're right, that's the strength of this football team, the tight end and the running back.
Mike, on a great read, he started it in the middle and all of a sudden made the cut to the outside, and that's where daylight was. Longest play of the day, 23 yards by Alabama. Blockers in front. Curtis Alexander to the other side, and Auburn says, well, let's don't get greedy. That's good for 2, as Antoine Nolan puts the stop on him. Let's go to Carl Ravitch. Carl?
All right, Ron, plenty of scoring in Clemson and South Carolina game. It was 14-13 South Carolina at the half. You see it's 26-14, and Clemson adds to it. Antoine Edwards, 43-yard touchdown. They have run off 20 straight in a hurry, Ron.
Big turnaround when you're driving and about to score and give up the easy pick.
And that's a bowl game that they're playing for there.
6-0 our score. About to go into 13 minutes left in this opening half. Tucker, play fake. Heavy pressure, and he just throws this one away. Section 314.
Well,
and now here comes a flag, and Tucker is chasing the referee to say, whoa, wait a minute, there was somebody out there.
Ron, I think this is a good call. Now, unless they call it off here. And he just heaved that ball out of bounds.
Have intentional grounding on the offense. A 5-yard penalty. Loss of down.
The tough part about it's a loss of down. Lance Tucker avoiding the sack, but just was a little bit too obvious on this one. He's throwing this one to Adrian. Jeff Dunlap, number 76, pressuring him. All coaches tell quarterbacks, though, put it up there in the press box. At least you'd like to have a guy around there.
He almost did. That's one of the longest throwaways I've ever seen.
He showed the strength of his arm.
Oh, I'll tell you, that would have won the discus in the last NCAAs. Tucker rolling, asking his receiver to come back. He does, but he caught it out of bounds. Quincy Jackson, a little slow to react, coming back to help out his quarterback.
And Ron, that penalty took him out of field goal range, too. And they've had some problems with their kicking game, but now they're going to force them to punt the football. So Alabama had good field position, and that penalty hurt them. A loss of down, big.
Well, let's see now how good Daniel Pope is at pooch kicking and putting the Auburn Tigers back in the hole.
You have to think Freddie Kitchens is going to get an opportunity here for long. Now, Lance Tucker's played well, but you figure Freddie Kitchens has more experience in this ball game.
Very high. This is a great pooch kick. Cooper calls for the fair catch and makes it inside the 15. In fact, they're going to spot that down at the 12. So timeout on the field. We'll take it with them. 13:04 until halftime. It's Auburn at 6-0. ESPN's presentation of college football, Alabama versus Auburn, is brought to you by the Pontiac Sunfire. Finally, a real set of wheels you can really afford. And by Sonic, America's Drive-In, where we invite you to drive in for a change. Now, Freddie Kitchens warming up on the sideline, and I would assume that on their next possession, it will be the senior from Atala who would be coming in.
Yeah, you're looking for a spark, and I just figure he's going to be in the ball game.
Well,
He's had good experience in this game the last 2 years.
Worst starting field position for Auburn tonight. See if Alabama can capitalize on that. Beasley, blocker in front, and he's going to take it to the 15. Kenny Smith, who has been involved greatly in this ball game in the early going, comes over to make the tackle. And Kenny is only a freshman. Big fella from Meridian, Mississippi.
Ron, I thought Fred Beasley was funny the other day when we talked to him. He said he chose Auburn over Alabama because he was afraid of the big city over there in Tuscaloosa. And he said that he didn't see any cows over there. And I know he's going to be a pro prospect, but I don't know where he goes to play where he can find cows. Unless it's Green Bay.
We'll ask Adrian for an expert opinion on that. Blitz is on. Craig gets by, gets his throw away, and hits poor. Could not turn around. If he did, that is a super outstanding play by Craig.
Ron, Alabama defensively has Damian Craig confused, and they've got the play calling of Auburn confused. They are coming after Damian Craig from a lot of different spots. Travis Smith, number 48, coming on the blitz there. Not picked up. He ran right by the offensive guard, T.J. Mears.
Well, Shea Townsend almost made a big boo-boo on this one.
Yeah, he always stayed deep as the deepest.
Yeah. And he didn't do that. He was coming up to peak. Third down. Line to make the 21 and a half. Craig's pass missed that one as Karsten Bailey was the closest man to it.
At the defense of Alabama now, they are not playing like a 4-7, 4-6 football team. They are playing lights out against Damian Craig. They have the receivers, Tyrone Goodson, Karsten Bailey, Hicks Poor. They are blanketing those wide receivers. There's nothing open.
That's the first time tonight that Auburn has been 3 and out. But we also mentioned their worst field position, so a tad more conservative with their play call. Marvin Richard on the run, all the way back to the 30, 35, to the 40. And again, Alabama's going to have pretty decent field position as Haven Fields makes the stop after a 49-yard kick. And it's going to be Freddie Kitchens coming into the ball game. You remember, if you were with us last year in Birmingham, it was Kitchens who engineered the final drive. They were dynamite. 17 points early going, and then they just went cold. But they scored in that final drive, a drive of just over 70 yards. Lance Tucker on the sideline, you see his numbers, talking with his head coach. Missed his last 7 attempts. But it was Kitchens who engineered it last year. Goss in motion. Pitch. Curtis says I'm not going to take it outside. Alexander will take it for a couple. And then the stop is made. But we're talking about last year. Let's take a look. Remember this? Kitchens throwing the swing pass to Dennis Riddle in the closing moments, and he capped a 74-yard drive. Now watch him cut back into the middle, and the linebacker spikes it. Boy, we just overran it. He hadn't done that all year, and he takes it in. And ironically, this year, neither Freddie or Dennis Riddle are starting in this ball game.
When Dennis is good back, the more he runs the football, the better he gets.
Octavius Houston creeping up. You see him at the top of your screen from that safety position. One deep safety in that backfield, the running play. Quentin Reese is right there just to mess up everything. Also Dorsey and Dunlap.
What Freddie Kitchens gives you that maybe Lance Tucker doesn't. Lance Tucker very productive in the last ball game versus Mississippi State. But Freddie Kitchens throws the ball a little bit better down the field. Now, he's been in the big ball game. He led the drive, as you talked about it last year. So it's going to be interesting how Freddie Kitchens plays in this game tonight.
Third down. And Kitchens needs to take it to the 49-yard line of Auburn to keep the drive going. Jackson in motion, pressure. Got it away, has it complete. Going to be well short at the 45-yard line as Taylor is right there to make the hit on Jackson, who had come across in motion. And we have a player shaken up. I believe that's Hogan, isn't it? The center. The freshman who has started every ball game for them. Now, he was injured last week, and I think Brody played some in his stead. But we'll get a report as the youngster out of Valdosta is hopping off the field.
And Ron, this is a ball club that's had their share of injuries all year. And Michael Vaughn, they lost him, the wide receiver, early in the year. And I think that's affected their ball club. And Michael Myers being suspended really affected their football team.
That was huge. This is the 5th punt of the ball game already for the Crimson Tide. And they almost got it, and they roughed the kicker. Now let's see if it's running into or roughing as a fair catch is made at the 15, because Telly Embry ran into him.
Big mistake by Telly Embry, because you never leave your feet when you're going after a punt.
My guy looked away. Did he call personal foul or running into?
I did not see it. It's 4th and 6. You leave your feet, you always have that possibility of running in the kicker. You never leave your feet.
That's a personal foul.
First down.
Roughing the kicker on the defense.
Made a lot of
15 yards.
First down.
So special teams head back to the sidelines, and the offense comes back on.
Last 2 first downs, Alabama's run the football. I think it's a time where you got to open it up right here. You got great field position, 40-yard line going in. You got experienced quarterback. See if they let Freddie Kitchens open it up a little bit more here.
Brooks Brody, number 51, comes in at center, replacing Hogan, who limped out just a moment ago.
Freddie's pointing to protection.
They fake the draw. Pass is drilled. Got incomplete. That's Hall. And the ball is taken away. Brad Ware has the football.
Antoine Nolan with the hit. Well, a good throw by Freddie Kitchens. Had Calvin Hall in the post pattern. Made the catch. Antoine Nolan with the hit. Here's the strip by Nolan, number 13. And as you said, Brad Ware with the recovery, and Auburn with the big defensive play.
Well, that's one that the Alabama faithful will talk about as you see the grimace on the far sideline by number 83, Calvin Hall, the sophomore out of Gallatin, Tennessee.
But that's got to be confidence for Freddie Kitchens.
He really drilled that football. Threw it very well. Here's the pitch to Carter. Nice job by Hood to string it out. And then the freshman's going to wind up getting back to the line of scrimmage and maybe picking up one, which is a lot unto itself with all the folks he had around him. Fernando Bryant and Travis Carroll defensively.
You know, when we were talking to the Auburn coaches the other day, they were talking about every game gets a name, you know, the drive, whatever. And today and tonight, somebody's going to make a big play in this ball game. And as we talked to Damian Craig, as his memories, he remembered Lawyer Tillman on the reverse. He said he's from Mobile. And people just remember plays and players in this ball game. And so it's a chance to be big in a big ball game.
Carter tries the left side, and a nice job as he's tripped up by Curley. Eric, a senior out of Birmingham, number 99.
One of my most vivid memories I named was a game right here at Auburn, the LSU game. The fire game when the old gymnasium burned up about 100 feet across the street. It looked like the southeast corner of the stadium was going up in fire.
Big third down for this Alabama defense. They have played their hearts out in this first half.
Auburn 13 attempts at rushing for a total of 32 yards. They need to take it out to the 28 to keep this one alive. And he didn't get it away, and the ball had been lobbed through. Now the defensive back gave up on it, Sigler, since the play was dead, but Hicks Poor did have a step on him.
On the offense.
Well, they didn't stop hitting the quarterback. Clint Wagner came in and tackled Damian Craig. Whistle blows, but of course, when you're going full speed, you can't hear it. Clint Wagner with a hit.
Freddie Kitchens got his first opportunity. And in fact, had him going inside the 20-yard line, and then a big whoops is the ball was fumbled. Third down. Craig rolling to his right, and on the run, Hicks Poor, and it is going to be intercepted by Sigler.
What a great effort by Chris Hood, first of all. Number 34 to chase Damian Craig. And a great play by Kelvin Sigler, number 20. Now here's the pressure by Chris Hood. He just jumped off the ball. Looks like he's fresh from the time that he has had the rest. He forces Damian Craig outside, throwing on the run, which he saw he's so good at. He lobs the ball up, and Kelvin Sigler with the interception. Alabama with good field position again, Ron. 7:47 left.
Hicks Poor did not react quite quickly enough, or he could have had that defensive back on his hip, but he didn't get him there.
He didn't.
And Sigler did the perfect job making the intercept. Kitchens drills it wide open over the middle, has it complete, no, incomplete, as Quincy Jackson had to go low and drop the football. And wow, he looked like the first guy out to the workout.
That play's been open now twice for him. Quincy Jackson just has to hold on the play, so wide open. Freddie Kitchens with a low throw, but Quincy Jackson has to make that catch. Getting their chances as Mike DeBoe's talking to Lance Tucker on the sideline. They got some things open.
That probably is one of the things that Tucker does a lot better. 15 yards and further. He puts air under the ball. Freddie throws it very hard and low trajectory.
Freddie has a gun. Movement by Alabama, I believe.
Have a dead ball, had illegal movement on the offense prior to the snap. Be 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
You know, Ron, with Freddie Kitchens entering the football game now, I'm sure Bill Oliver, one of the thoughts he has now is to show different defenses, but also to come after Freddie Kitchens because he's not much of a running threat. So you get a quarterback back there now that's more of a drop-back quarterback. You come after him a little bit more than you would Lance Tucker.
Second down, and they need to take it to the Auburn 41 to pick up the first. 6-0. Auburn leads. Under 8 minutes to play. First half. Kitchens drills the ball, has it complete. He's got Jackson, and he is going to have the first down, and he's loose. The foot race is on as the ball is trying to be taken away by Spikes. It would be a 1st and 10, Alabama.
Freddie Kitchens has ignited this offensive football team by placing him in the ball game. Didn't start in this football game. Now has come in, has hit some key passes. Hits Quincy Jackson, number 7, with just an out route. Now some missed tackles.
But the biggest mistake of all was where, Mike? He gambled on the play.
Gambled on the interception. Alabama in business.
From the 14, they run it with Riddle. Back into the boundary, nothing. Nice job by Jeff Dunlap, the redshirt freshman. Also Dorsey, you can see him out there, number 91.
Bruce Arians talked about Freddie Kitchens, that he had a great attitude all week. And when I was over there watching practice Thursday, Lance Tucker got 90% of the plays in practice. Freddie Kitchens, your backup quarterback, has to do a lot mentally. Just figuring if he was in there, who would I throw to? And he did a great job in practice because he looked very prepared in this ball game.
3 of 4 for Kitchens, 66 yards. He signals Riddle to go in motion. Throw back, and he overthrows the ball as he had Goss coming back toward the line of scrimmage. Marcus Washington may have tipped that football.
Ron, I'll tell you another thing. As you look at this ball game, how it's developing, Alabama, again, with a lot of different formations, I think is slowing down Auburn a little bit of some of the things they want to do. Marcus Washington, 82, as you said, with just a little tip of that football.
3rd down. They need the 4.5-yard line. They trail 6-0. Kitchens drills it, has him over the middle, touchdown, Calvin Hall. So Calvin Hall makes up for a miscue a moment ago when he fumbled the football.
Well, a nice design play. They brought Quincy Jackson in motion. He was dragging across the middle. He took out the linebackers.
This is Kemp with the extra point attempt as they have changed kickers again this week. And it is very high, not real long, but it served the purpose. Time out of the field. Alabama with the lead, 7-6. Alabama goes on top, 7-6. And for the 3rd straight year now, Burger King has recognized outstanding student athletes through the $1 million Burger King College Football Scholarship Program. Tonight's Burger King students of the game are from Alabama junior defensive back Warren Faust, a public relations major with a 3.65 grade point average. And from Auburn, defensive end Shannon Suttle, a senior majoring in radio, TV, and film with a 3.25 GPA. We need to explain to you that Cunningham, who started the year as a kicker, not here tonight. They didn't bring him. Dismukes, who kicked last week, didn't bring him either. You saw Diaz kick the extra point a moment ago. And kicking off right now, rather, this is Diaz, and Chris Kemp is now the extra point and short field goal kicker. So Mike DeVos is looking for any answer with the kicking game. His is a left footer. Hits one of the up back. Picked up at the 25. And that is to McLeod, one of the tight ends, and he will be tackled just short of the 30.
All falls on Damian Craig now, Ron. He needs to get something going. We'll take a look at this touchdown by Alabama. Good design play. The motion man, what you're going to see is both wide receivers cross. Here's the crossing routes now right here, which opens up the middle of the field for Calvin Hall in the touchdown.
As we mentioned, an error by Calvin, a fumble inside the 15 just a while ago, but he makes amends for that as he comes back and catches a touchdown pass. And the underdog Alabama Crimson Tide forge on top at the 6:13 mark in this first half. Pass, swings it out, hits Poor, hit in the open field and tackled after a gain of 5 by Sigler, who had the interception a moment ago. And let's check in with Adrian Karsten.
Ron, it was easy for me to see in pregame. The justification is something the coaches told us earlier in conference this week, that less is better. Really, less is more as far as the defense is concerned. They've simplified things because you got to remember they brought 20 athletes along in this trip who came to Alabama not on scholarship in the first place. Keeping things simple so they don't have to do too much up front has actually helped them in this first half defensively.
Good point. Second down, about 4.5. You see we're about to hit the 5.5-minute mark. Look in pass. It is tipped at the line of scrimmage and almost picked off. Travis Smith got his hands on it, and you can see Damian grimacing because he knows he did not throw that pass well.
And the other thing that's happened in this ball game, because of the way Alabama's playing on defense, they have got Auburn out of the running mode. They know now they've got Auburn throwing the football, so they can design their defense a little bit differently.
Yeah, Curley goes to the sideline. Also, Hood goes to the sideline. Pass over the middle is Hicks Poor. Got it complete. They have missed on 5 straight third-down conversions, and they just got another one. Tony Dixon makes the tackle, and that is big, I think, Mike, as far as momentum in this first half, because Alabama had kind of wrestled it away from them.
Well, they have momentum on their side. And what the difference in this ball game, the first half, has been the play of the secondary of Alabama. You talk about Bryant and Townsend they bring in, and then they rest him a series. Sigler has played great for Alabama in the secondary, and the secondary is just blanketed the receivers.
Running play goes for short yardage with Beasley. He'll take it for about 4.
Well, we talked about the running game for Auburn, and everybody's talked about it all year. They started out against Virginia with 77 yards, and you look at the 2 losses that they had to Florida here and Mississippi State here, and how they dropped under 50 yards rushing, and when they were at their best, Louisiana Tech and Georgia, 159 yards. That's when they have, and they take the pressure off of Damian Craig.
Well, their average tonight, actually 14 attempts, 36 yards, which is an average of under 3. Quick pass, far sideline, got it complete. That's Bailey. And Deshae Townsend, little one-on-one coverage there, makes the stop.
I'm amazed how well they're playing in the secondary for being hurt and missing so much action and missing so much practice. Deshae Townsend in pretty good shape here again against Karsten Bailey. Just a quick hitch. See him plant his foot. Deshae Townsend come up and make that tackle short of the first down marker.
They're going to bring the chains in just to check it out to see just how short he is, if in fact he is short. Yep, and he missed it just by about, what, 2 lengths on that chain.
Well, you can't be any happier than Mike DeBose has to feel right now, because his ball club 4-6 and not a lot to play for. Adrian Karsten said they're playing to be the first team to win here at Auburn, and that's their motivation in this game.
This is a formation coming up, Mike, that Auburn likes to use in short yardage. You'll see a number 73, Kendall Simmons, will line up in the backfield. He actually is a reserve guard, and they use him as a fullback type. There he is, right behind Damian Craig.
He's 321.
They faked it to him. They're going to go on top with the pass, and it is incomplete.
Well, you talk about a great play call. You talk about great defense. This is designed well by Auburn to try to get 6 points quick. And a great fake by Damian Craig. And I think you go for this now. That was the whole idea behind this. Here is Kendall Simmons, the fullback, and that's 300 and some pounds going overboard.
321.
But Alabama, look how they play this in the secondary. They're in great shape. I believe that's Fernando Bryant almost with an interception.
Well, they go for it. Quarterback sneak with Damian Craig, and he got this easily. So actually, a good play call. They had one to play with.
It's excellent. These teams know each other so well, though. And they read their keys. Fernando Bryant, and their big fullback comes off. Last week, and you were laughing about Kendall Simmons. They ran a play against Georgia, and he hit Damian Craig in the back. Damian Craig probably, that was the hardest hit he had the whole game.
I tell you what, he jumped pretty doggone well, though, Mike, when
he did.
When they ran the fake and he went over the top of the pile.
They probably told him in practice, somebody will catch you on the other side. Nobody caught it.
That's right. We just said, don't come down on one of our guys.
Craig sets, throws, and Bailey was the intended receiver. Townsend was there with him. They're picking on those corners, or trying to, but they're losing. They're not getting much on it.
Yeah, they're losing that battle tonight. So far in this ball game, Karsten Bailey, number 5, against Deshae Townsend. Foot race, Deshae Townsend in perfect shape, looking for the football, reading the eyes of Karsten Bailey. Nothing home.
Deshae, another youngster out of Mississippi, out of Batesville.
Curly Hallman said that they want the best receiver always. If Fernando Bryant, him argued, Deshae Townsend, they want always the opponent's best receiver.
See Damian Craig, 6 of 16. A fake kick to Beasley. Pass is thrown incomplete. Off the mark is Robinson, the intended receiver, and Sickler was all over him. Now let's check the marker.
Ineligible receiver downfield. You know, we talked about this round early in the ball game. They had great field position, Auburn, and didn't take advantage of it. And Alabama had the 4 penalties and almost an interception, and they hung around, and Auburn just hasn't been able to put them away here.
Ineligible receiver, downfield on the offense, be a 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
So Aster Sizemore explains the situation. It's getting cooler here at Auburn. In fact, a little bit foggy as the front, I think, has produced cooler air. And those young men, I know it's because of the orange paint, can't feel the cool that is now invading this city because it's the Iron Bowl.
When you show a lot of formation, sometimes you line up wrong, and we'll go back to that last play after this one.
Alabama shows blitz. Let's see if they're coming out. Yep, they're coming in the middle. Craig steps up, drills his ball, and it is tipped and going to be intercepted by Alabama. Marcus Spencer down the near sideline finally runs out of bounds. And I'll tell you, Clifton Robinson should have caught it and gone for a touchdown, and he got it tipped off his shoulder pad. He didn't catch it with his hand.
Alabama just playing well in the secondary. Curly Hallman, the secondary coach, has to be happy about this. Disguising things, yeah. Clifton Robinson.
He let it get into his body instead of catching it.
Marcus Spencer with the interception. Damian Craig really had some room to run that football. The old tip drill.
So the line of scrimmage is now at the 44.5-yard line with 3:16 left to play until halftime.
Auburn is confused on offense.
And the home folks saying, hey, defense, give us a stop here. Crowd on their feet down to our right. Kitchens again, play action, has it complete right over the middle of Rutledge. And the tight end is going to take it to the 39 for a 5-yard gain. And now they say incomplete. Yeah. Okay. Alabama's come back to the line of scrimmage. They were going to snap it at the 39, and the officials say, nope, let's put it back here at the 44 and a half.
And Mike DeBose is showing his feelings.
Well, that's 2 times.
And a little slow making those calls.
Rutledge twice was close to catching the football. Look at the first 3 drives and the last 4 as far as field position for Alabama.
Well, Freddie Kitchens has benefited. Lance Tucker started on the 20, but Freddie's had better field position.
Spikes in the blitz right up the middle. Kitchens tries to run out of it, and he wisely goes down at the 41 as Martavius Houston is there.
But that's why you blitz Freddie Kitchens, because even if he runs the football, he's not going to damage you. He's not going to gash you like a Damian Krager or maybe a Lance Tucker would gash you. He picks up 3 or 4 yards, but then you go after him again.
Well, we can see that secondary resting on the sideline, and they're smiling. They're having fun. Because this first half is almost over, and Alabama, who was not supposed to be able to play with Auburn this year, because of that secondary, has forged into a lead by 1. Kitchens pass, got it, dropped by Jackson and almost intercepted as Jason Bray almost picked off the carom. And we've had guys drop footballs all over that should have caught him.
Freddie Kitchens couldn't have been any better in this second quarter. He is throwing the ball right on the money. Receivers just are not holding on to the football. Quincy Jackson, number 7, pretty good defensive play by Jason Bray, but a good stop by Auburn's defense. They've got 2:14 and 2 timeouts left to try to make something happen.
Hope to kick it away to Markeith Cooper. And Auburn has the return on. Good pooch kick. With a bound inside the 5, and it takes an Alabama bounce. It'll be touched dead at the 3.5. 37 yards and a kick. Let's take a break. 2:03 until halftime, and our score: Alabama 7 and Auburn 6. Well, 7-6 our score. Alabama on top. And, of course, we mentioned off the top of the telecast that the announcement was made about 55 minutes before this game kicked off that Arkansas had beaten Mississippi State, which means Auburn controls their own destiny to win the West. And this crowd went nuts. But so far, in the first half, as Carter breaks it out, 5, 10, and now 15 yards. He lost the football. Short, the Alabama player, signaled that Auburn had recovered it. I think he wanted to point the other way.
Yeah, he's so happy he just pointed.
And let's check in with Carl Ravage.
All right, as Alabama recovers and has a chance to increase their lead, you're right about that, Ron. Certainly LSU sitting at home rooting for the Crimson Tide. Alabama could do LSU a favor the same way Florida did Michigan a favor today by beating the Elder Bowden. Number 1 Michigan going to the Rose Bowl for the first time in a long time. We will have the Rose Bowl picture. Reports from Ann Arbor and Gainesville on what has been a very busy day and not yet over. Ron, back to you.
Okay, well, Travis Smith is the man who made the recovery, and Terry Bowden knows the 3 turnovers and just his offense kind of disappearing in the second quarter has got them in a world of jeopardy right now. Curtis Alexander breaks it to the right side, and that is a great open field tackle by Jason Bray. Take a look at that fumble again.
Well, DeMontre Carter's had some problems this year holding on to the football. Good hit again by Kelvin Ziegler. I can't even begin to tell you how well he's playing in this ball game. Just a good stick on Carter caused the fumble. And then Alabama with great field position.
And one of the raps on Carter had been holding on to the football. Now look how this is flip-flopped as far as field position. 7-6, Alabama leads. Clock runs a minute 14 until halftime. Kitchens breaks the tackle. They didn't get him, and he throws this one away out of the back of the end zone. And to repeat what I started to say a while ago before we tossed it to Carl, and that is the fact that Auburn can control their own destiny, but right now they are down by 1, and the Crimson Tide is on the doorstep again.
And Ron, a concern you have to have if you're Bruce Arians and Mike DeBose right now is you've had problem with your kickers. And you've got new kickers here tonight. So this third down, they have to make something happen. right here on 3rd and 7. They do not want to get in a field goal situation. They'll take it if they have to, but they'd like to make something happen here.
3rd down line to make is the 12. Goss in motion. You see the pressure, the pass. It is caught by Goss, and what a hit by Rob Pate. Whoa. Now here comes the decision that Mike's talking about. Let's see if they send the field goal unit on. I don't think they will, Mike.
I think they will. I believe you take the field goal here, even though you've had problems with it. 4th and 4 is a long way to go. They may take some time to think about it, but no, they're going to go for the field goal. I think it's the right move, Ron. You want to get points. You've had problems with your kicking game, but you got to hope that you can get it in here.
Tucker is the holder on the extra point a moment ago. Kemp was very high and short. Low pass. He gets a better kick this time, and he's good. Chris Kemp with the field goal. 32 yards, and Alabama with 19 seconds showing on the clock on top by 4.
You expect your best in a ball game like this, so you expect your kickers to go out and make something happen. There's a snap, the good hold.
Nice job by Tucker to get that ball up. Timeout on the field. Let's take it with them. 4-point Crimson Tide lead. Well, as you look at this capacity house here in Auburn, Alabama, the folks to the right particularly, which is the home folks here at Auburn at this stadium, I mean, they are in shock because they not only were huge underdogs with the injuries to the Alabama players and what have you. A lot of folks thought this was going to be a walk, and Alabama has proven no Iron Bowl is a walk. McLeod took the ball, went on one knee so that they could have 15 seconds left. Well, tomorrow morning, it's NFL Countdown at 11:30 Eastern. Sit in with the distinguished faculty of Bristol University of the best NFL pregame show in the business. 7 o'clock, join Chris Berman and company for the NFL Primetime. All the highlights of all the games. Then a battle for first place at the NFC East. The Giants take on the Redskins on Sunday Night NFL. All tomorrow on ESPN. And Auburn will go on one knee and head for the locker room. 10 seconds, down to 9. And the Crimson Tide faithful are up and they are cheering. Meanwhile, the Auburn folks are kind of applauding but looking in wonderment as to what is going on this Saturday evening. It is halftime with our score, Alabama 10, Auburn 6. Now with the Buick Century halftime report, let's join Carl Ravitch.
Hi, Ron Franklin. Thank you very much. A 4-point game there. As we mentioned, the Bowdens just a minute ago. Good day for Tommy. His Tulane team won, but Terry right now down to Alabama, and Auburn controlling its own destiny. Florida State, Bobby Bowden's team, they control their own destiny. We will check on the halftime report how those Seminoles fared against the Gators at the Swamp. Also coming up, about the Wolverines getting back to the Rose Bowl, an in-your-face rivalry day. Woodson in Boston and the entire cast of the Noles and Gators. Much to do over the next 15 minutes. Come back with it.
This halftime report is presented by Buick Century. Discover a little luxury in this century.
Late field goal by the maligned Alabama kicking game, and it is 10-6. They have a 4-point lead at the half, Alabama and Auburn. Welcome, everyone, to the Century by Buick halftime report. Florida State and Florida, 324 days ago, the Gators knock off the Seminoles. Supposed to be redemption for Bobby Bowden's team. They come in number 1. They come in unbeaten, but they come into the Swamp. Danger City. Freddie Taylor had a huge game, 61-yard touchdown, his 3rd of the game. Gators up 25-20. So much for a defensive battle, though these two teams average about 50-some-odd points between them when they meet. Travis Minor, 18-yard touchdown, 2-point conversion, no good. It's an FSU 1-point cushion. Doug Johnson, Jacquez Green. And earlier today, Chris Fowler talking about guys coming from down on the depth charts and rising. Doug Johnson did just that. This 63-yard pass later set up a Freddie Taylor score, 32-29. 68 seconds left to go in the game. Florida State deep in their own territory. Busby picked off by Dwayne Thomas. Frustration for the Noles. Final score, 32-29 in favor of the Gators. So Florida has won the last two critical meetings between these two teams. No national championship for the Seminoles. Busby 219 yards. Doug Johnson, Noah Brindise, all combined to get the job done for Steve Spurrier's team, who said afterwards, boy, we like to beat those Noles. Ohio State and Michigan also trying to stay unbeaten at the Big House, the Wolverines. Charlie Woodson did everything this afternoon, including a 78-yard punt return for a touchdown. 13-0 Michigan at the break. Second half, the vaunted Wolverine D. Stanley Jackson had troubles all day. This poor pass picked off by Andre Weathers. 43 yards later, pay dirt. Fourth quarter, 20-7. Brian Greasy out of the pocket. Gary Berry pops him. Jerry Rudzinski recovers inside the 2. A Pepe Pearson touchdown is 20-14. 50 seconds left. Ohio State. Joe Germain up for grabs, and it deflects and goes turfward. And Michigan knocks off John Cooper's Buckeyes again. Charles Woodson and the Wolverines are breaking out the roses. They go back to the Rose Bowl, and they are unbeaten with a very, very good chance of figuring in the national championship picture. They control their own destiny. 11-0 season. SEC, Tennessee, and Kentucky. The heir apparent and the heir. Peyton Manning, Marcus Nash, one-handed grabs down the sideline. 59 yards, and it's 14-3 Vols. Couch. How about Keo Sanford? Watch the moves to elude the Vols. Missed tackles. Kentucky players banging into each other. Speed to Bird. 87 yards for the touchdown. Longest pass play from scrimmage for a TD this season for Kentucky, 17-14. Manning, Nash, 66 yards in a game of big plays that saw the receivers chew up big chunks of yards after the catches. Nash, perfect pass, 31 yards. How about Manning? 523 yards, 5 touchdowns on a 25-for-35 day. Jamal Lewis, 4 touchdowns, 128 yards, the first true freshman to rush for 1,000 yards. So the Heisman story, maybe a wash as far as Manning and Woodson go, but certainly as the national title picture goes, Michigan advantage. However, we are going to go back to Gainesville right now. Florida State and Florida. Partying may continue in Michigan. It is in full swing right now in Gainesville. Mike Adamle is there for more on what happened today. Mike?
Well, Carl, right now the scene on University Avenue, it looks like A1A in Fort Lauderdale during spring break. This is one celebration that won't end anytime soon. Steve Spurrier said after this game that it wasn't quite as sweet as a Sugar Bowl victory, but very, very close, especially when you consider how it was accomplished. Shuttling in 2 quarterbacks, defying convention, shuttling in Doug Johnson and Noah Brindise at the plays, and afterwards our Mark Schwartz talked to the victors and the vanquished.
That's the first time I've ever done that. And they got in there quickly, and we sort of had an idea of what we were going to do. And what it gives you a chance to coach the quarterback in between every play. You know, something happened, well, should have looked over here, maybe hit this guy, blah, blah. So at one time, we were thinking about playing 3 of them, to tell you the truth.
He didn't want us to be a game where, you know, someone take control, someone have all the highlights and everything. He wanted to do whatever it took to win, and that's what it took, and I'm happy. If I didn't play at all, if we'd have won, I'd still be this happy.
We could not contain that deadgum green and number 21 long enough. I thought the quarterback, Steve, did a great job using his quarterbacks the way they should be used.
We're looking at a perfect season, going to play for it all against Nebraska, and I mean, to lose this game really hurts me because I'm a senior. I never can play the Gators again, and they've caused me 3 national championships now. So 95 last year and this year, so I mean, I can never go back and play them again.
And Carl, one of the most impressive things about the Gators today, their offensive line. No sacks against a team who led the nation in that department. The party continues here in Gainesville. I'll give you a full report when I see you back in Bristol.
Providing you get here with the voice, that party's going to go for a while. Speaking of parties, the Apple Cup, Washington State, could they pull it off on the road to set up a date with Michigan and the Bruins and Trojans? This one came down to the wire. Highlights when we come back. Century by Buick. Halftime report continues. Michigan back to the Rose Bowl for the first time since '93. They'll meet Washington State. Huskies battling Washington at home. This was a quarterback nightmare for both. Brock Huard, he threw 3 interceptions in the first half. The Washington State offense clicking. Mike Price in November, winless on the road. How about Ryan Leaf up top? Jackson breaks tackles, breaks into the end zone. Washington State shocking the Huskies at home. Ray Jackson the interception, Chris Jackson the touchdown. 41-35, first time in 67 years the Cougars go Rose Bowling. UCLA, a winner over USC, 31-24. They win 9 straight, longest streak since 1973 for the Bruins, who came on real strong. Mississippi State blew a chance to win the SEC West. They had to win this week and next week. Instead, they fall to Arkansas by 10. Georgia over Mississippi. The final score there, 21-14. North Carolina thinking the Lions bid, thinking impressive. Yeah, 50 points over Duke. They win 50-14. Keldorf sets a school mark for touchdown passes in a career. Clemson rolling over South Carolina. And the game seen on ESPN2. They go bowling. South Carolina goes golfing. Alabama now 10-6 over the Auburn Tigers. Auburn controlling its own destiny and right now not in control.
Halftime continues now from Ann Arbor. Chris Fowler along with Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit. Michigan headed to the Rose Bowl. But the system, folks, fails the fans once again. Nebraska 2 wins away from the Orange Bowl to meet Tennessee if the Volunteers can get 2 more victories. But will not have a battle that the fans really would like to see, an unbeaten Nebraska team against an unbeaten Michigan team. Wolverines guys figured to be a comfortable #1 in the AP poll. The margin was big. Nebraska a little bit closer in the coaches poll. They might pick up some of those 29 first-place votes that Florida State had.
Well, Chris, let me give you a scenario where Nebraska could get a piece of the national title. They still got 2 big ball games. They got Colorado and Texas A&M. If they beat those teams beat them good, then they got Tennessee maybe, who's ranked #3 in the Orange Bowl. I don't see how anybody could keep a 13-0 Nebraska team out of at least a piece of the national title.
At least a share. It's unfortunate. You go back a couple weeks ago, they win a football game even though it's close, and it penalized them. As Chris mentioned, it's unfair, the system, the way it is still set up. But I'll tell you this, you got to give credit to the Michigan Wolverines. Week in and week out, they have played teams. They really haven't been threatened with the exception of the Iowa game and the Ohio State game, both teams that were ranked at the time. So we can look at his system, but you got to step back and really give Michigan a lot of credit.
It's hard to argue if Michigan is #1, but Nebraska would be penalized for that close win against Missouri. Perhaps the role of reversal of 1994 when Penn State was #1 until a close win, and Nebraska went on to win the national championship, and Penn State was denied as an undefeated team. Really compelling story in the Rose Bowl. The opponent for Michigan is Washington State because back in August, they beat UCLA on a goal line stand, and the tiebreaker goes to Wazoo because of a 4th down play when Toledo couldn't go to Skip Hicks. He left the game because he was dizzy, and Jermaine Lewis is stuffed. So, again, I think fans would probably rather see Michigan and UCLA. Instead, they'll get Ryan Leaf and company against the great defense.
Yeah, but Washington's got a great football team, and they deserve to be there. But Michigan's another situation. Michigan has lost the last 2 bowl games they've been in. I recommend Lloyd Carr take a trip to Tallahassee, spend a couple days with Bobby Bowden. The reason? Bowden's 14-1 in bowl games. Half of knowledge is knowing where to find it, and Bowden's got some knowledge.
Well, Washington State's going to attack Michigan. They have 5 receivers with over 20 catches. Michigan would have to use ball control to keep the ball away from Ryan Leaf. You'd have to obviously like Michigan's chances in that game.
Plenty more Rose Bowl talk in the next month.
Yeah.
Kyle Ravitch has more in the Buick Century halftime report. After this, it's Bama on top of the Tigers at the break.
Second half action coming up. Just wrapping up the halftime report here and some other scores. Penn State makes a big statement. They rock Wisconsin 35-10. Enos a $138. K-State over Iowa State. They also say, hey, Alliance, take a picture of that. Virginia Tech loses to Pittsburgh. Tech may have blown the Big East title. Syracuse will win next week. It's theirs. West Virginia loses to Notre Dame. The Irish, back-to-back weeks of taking care of top 25 teams. First time since '92 they've done that. Alabama and Auburn, second half. Ron Franklin and company coming up.
Well, we're back with our halftime score. The Crimson Tide 10 and the Auburn Tigers 6. And Mike Gottfried, we talked about on the early part of the telecast in this ballgame, Auburn had many opportunities, and they missed them. And right now it's really costing them in this football game.
Ron, they had great field position early in the ball game and then just couldn't get anything done with it. And then enter Freddie Kitchens, and then all of a sudden everything changed. Senior quarterback coming off the bench, and you see the good pass here to Quincy Jackson, and he's down the sideline for good yardage. Freddie, in a lot of the passes, here he doesn't take the sack, scrambles for 3-4 yards, doesn't make mistakes. Touchdown pass over the middle, and they've just they're like a new ball club. They're energized with Freddie Kitchens coming in the ball game.
You know, in watching Alabama come out at halftime, as you look at the first half numbers, Auburn only 54 rushing and 63 passing. But when Alabama came out to begin this second half now, their feet were not touching the ground, because all of a sudden, we talk about when you let an underdog stay in a ball game, the longer you let them stay in, then they really start to believe.
This is a big series for Auburn right here to start this half off.
Now they're going to get the ball at the 35-yard line, so they open it up with the first break, so to speak, of the second half. And let's check in with Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
Ron, Terry Bowden tells me he's going to live by the 2-to-1 ratio offense in the second half. That is to say, 2 passes to every 1 run. But as you said, 54 yards on the ground in the first half is not going to get it done. They've got to pick and choose their moments when they run, when they hand that ball off to Beasley. Remember, 160 yards on the ground last week was nothing to write home about, but it was enough to complement the passing game against Georgia and lead to a big win.
Okay, we'll see how that ratio goes, Adrian. We'll keep up with it very closely up here. Auburn won the toss. They deferred to the second half, and that's the reason they are opening it here on offense in the third quarter. Beasley going to be hit in the backfield and knocked down for a loss. Curley, also Carroll, coming in to combine on the tackle.
Around the first half, we talk about the difference being Freddie Kitchens. He was 5 out of 10 for 82 yards and 1 touchdown. On the other side, Damian Craig, 6 of 17, 63 yards, but 2 big interceptions.
First quarter, Alabama only 27 yards, 120 in the second quarter. Beasley again running back into the boundary. That's a nice job in the open field by Travis Smith to trip him up.
Good speed by Travis Smith, number 48, the junior linebacker. They have answered every punch that Auburn has thrown on offense to this point.
Tackles in that first half for Auburn. Dorsey with 5, Martavius Houston with 4, 3 of those solo, and Takeo Spikes only 2 tackles in the first half.
We have not called his name a lot in this ball game. He dominated in the Georgia game.
Third down. They need to take it out to the 45. Alabama showing blitz. Let's see if they come. Actually, they stay at home. Craig's pass. Got it. Hicks 4. That will move the chains right there. Possibly put an asterisk by that play, because I don't think they wanted Alabama to get the ball right back with the momentum they had.
Well, you figure the senior quarterback has to lead you. Damian Craig led his high school team to 2 state championships. He said, I'll be measured by this Alabama game tonight. Hicks poor on a short post. Warren Faust back there, and Calvin Ziegler, number 20, the safeties.
19 yards on the pass play. Hicks 4 now, 3 catches for 33. And Craig in trouble, and he is going to go down under the rush of Eric Curley.
Kelvin Ziegler, number 20, was going to come on a blitz there. You talked about Alabama's shown a lot of fronts, a lot of different looks. Here's Ziegler, number 20, showing blitz, and they're blitzing a linebacker to the top side. Damian Craig couldn't get out of the play, so thus the bad play. Eric Curley with the tackle. They've confused Auburn on offense. They look like Auburn now has a little bit better idea of what's happening in the ball game, but what Alabama's trying to do to them.
Ziegler coming back to the outside. Blitz is on. There are flags all over the place.
Delay a game.
Didn't get the play off in time. You know, we talked about off the top of the telecast the percentage of plays that quarterback Damian Craig is involved in.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty.
For the season, 78% of the plays he's involved with. That is higher than any quarterback with a top 25 team. In the first half, Mike, they had 34 snaps. He was involved in 23 of them.
Well, I can tell you, as you look at the quarterbacks in the top 25, just your point there, but I can tell you this, it's going to be 95 here in this third and fourth quarter because it's on his shoulders to win this football game.
That is 3 delays in this ball game against Auburn. 3 times they've suffered 5-yard penalties. Craig. That ball hit Goodson right in the chest, and he dropped it.
Well, they're very fortunate Fernando Bryant didn't intercept it because Fernando Bryant was going for the interception and tripped just as the ball came to him. Played it great again. This secondary for Alabama, I've talked about it all evening, raving about how they're playing in the secondary. But you'll see Fernando Bryant going for the interception. He trips and falls, or he picks that ball off. And you're right, Tyrone Goodson dropped it.
So it's third down, and if they want to keep this one going, you got to take it to the Alabama 41. You just joined us. Crimson Tide 10, Auburn 6. Here comes the pressure. Craig going to be sacked at the 25 by Travis Smith. The second time that Alabama has gotten to him tonight.
Boy, you talk about a field position swing. That ball, that started at 48-yard line, and now they're all the way back to about their 27, 28-yard line. Again, pressure. They're coming after Damian Craig. Travis Smith, Kelvin Ziegler, they're not allowing him to set up and read defenses.
Alabama appearing to be coming after him. And they got the pressure on, and Holmes, good acting job with no flag. Punt return from the 30. Richard, and he's going to be stopped at the 36. Now, the hometown folks are booing because they think there should be a roughing, but I think you will see that Holmes didn't really get bumped into, and if he did, it was not that hard. Timeout on the field at 11:10 left in the third quarter. Alabama by 4. ESPN's presentation of college football, Alabama versus Auburn, is brought to you by Prestone Antifreeze. Protect your car in the Prestone zone. 1972, the famous Alabama punt game. Bill Newton's 2 block punts led to 2 David Langer touchdown returns as the Tigers came back from a 16-3 deficit to upset the Crimson Tide. Our score 10-6. As Alabama comes back on offense, they stopped the Auburn Tigers on their opening drive of the second half. Now let's see if they can come up with something big offensively. Curtis Alexander, big opening, 5, 10, 13, 14 yards. Antoine Nolan will put the stop on him.
Now remember, Ron, now these coaches have coached against Bill Oliver before in the spring, and Woody McCorvey mentioned to me the other day that they think movement can help them, and there's a lot of movement trying to confuse the Auburn defense. They moved the tight end. Once he's settled, they motion the outside flanker back, and it just looks like it's confusing Auburn on defense.
1st and 10 as they move the ball across midfield. Pitching, swings it out. That's Quincy Jackson. Nothing inside. Takes it back outside. And Dunlap, along with Taylor, and Spikes in the area to trip him up.
Well, you talk about field position in the first half, and we talked about it up here. The first 3 series is for Alabama. They were pinned deep in the 20-yard line. Lance Tucker's time's right there. Then all of a sudden, Freddie Kitchens enters the ball game, and now you see the field position, how much better it gets. In a short field for Alabama, and they got the touchdown and field goal.
Again, Rutledge, the tight end, flips from the left side over to the right. Auburn shifts defensively, trying to counter, and the running play. Nice job as he's tripped up by Leonardo Carson. Leonardo, a sophomore out of Mobile, 6'2", 272, was a high school quarterback, if you can believe it.
Yeah, he was a quarterback in high school, and they speak very highly of him in Mobile. And you again, talking to the players that live in Alabama, they know the importance of this football game. And the Auburn players were telling us that they needed to tell the out-of-state players how important it was for some of the new players.
Third down. They need to take it to the 37 of Auburn. 30% third down conversions tonight. Kitchens quickly gets his pass away. He caught it. Did he get the first down? It's going to be awfully close.
I don't think he has a first down.
Quincy Jackson came back for it.
Yeah.
Bray was there with him.
Well, he got a good spot. Oh, now I think he made it with the spot.
Interesting, in the early going, we were laughing about in the first quarter that Mike DuBose had to be saying, hey, give us a break in the ball game or let's get one. And now the breaks seem to be going their way.
That was a break right there. I think the good spot there for Alabama, and Mike DuBose knows it. And here's Freddie Kitchens again. Ron just seems to play well in this Auburn-Alabama game.
Jackson, 5 catches, 59 yards. Quincy, a junior, came from East Mississippi Junior College. Did not get the play away. So instead of 1st and 10 at the 37, it's going to be 1st and 15 back at the 42.
One of the problems, Ron, is the quarterback for Alabama makes the blocking calls. They designate who's a linebacker and who's a D lineman.
We have delay game on the offense, exceeding the 25.
Most quarterbacks are pointing at secondary guys who may come on a blitz. But all of a sudden, Freddie's is pointing to linebackers and defensive linemen. So centers usually make the calls to the blocking schemes. For Alabama, the quarterback makes the call.
Interesting. You can see 74 Hogan is back in the ballgame. But I ask you that question. Since he's a freshman, do you think that's the reason they don't ask him to make the calls this year?
May have something to do to it, but I think it's the system that Bruce Arians believes in. He wants his quarterback making those calls.
1st and 15. About to go with their 8 minutes to play, third quarter. Curtis Alexander, Sean, I beg your pardon, breaks it up the middle. Martavius Houston and Tequil Spikes combining to the stop, and it looks as though he's got the 5 yards back. Now keep one thing in mind. Last year, this young man right here against LSU as a freshman set a new all-time single-game rushing record for Alabama, which is incredible with all the great running backs they've had. And Mike, he came in the Michigan game in our bowl game down in Tampa and blew that one wide open with a game-winning touchdown.
And that's the benefit of having 3 tailbacks. He's fresh now in this ball game, and that was a concern of Bill Oliver because he only plays about 14 players on defense late in the game. But maybe one of these tailbacks would get hot because they're fresh.
Kitchens, this play is blown up on him. No place to go, and he just throws it away.
They have to have a lineman downfield.
Sure do.
Here.
Yeah, Hogan, the center, was about...
Now they're missing this call. They had more linemen there and a little late, but and you got to make that call. There's 3 linemen from Alabama downfield. See, Freddie made a mistake. He should have ran that ball.
Well, what happened? They were going to throw the quick middle screen.
That was a quick screen, but when it's not there, your linemen are downfield. You can't throw the football.
So he should have run it. Hogan looking around like, well, I was doing how the play was drawn up.
Sean Alexander, they flank him out. They're going to try to hit him with a quick screen. Now, he's not open, so Freddie Kitchens sees he's not open. But all the linemen are downfield, so you can't throw the football.
Boy, that was a good coaching job right there. You could see Reese right back on him. Martavius Houston was all over him. No way that play was going to work.
Have an ML receiver downfield on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
So it'll be 2nd down, and the ball is pushed back to the 41.
Difference in Freddie Kitchens tonight, throwing the ball down the field strong. There he is pointing out protection again to his offensive lineman.
The linebackers move away. Three-man rush. Carson, as the ball is tipped in the air, and is going to be caught by Jackson, and he is going to be hit and not for a loss by Spikes.
Ron, a smart move by Quincy Jackson, though, because he saw that ball up in the air, and he made a great quick move to try to get that ball caught. Deflected at the line of scrimmage by Charles Dorsey, number 91. And now Quincy Jackson really comes back hard to make that catch.
It is third down. And if Alabama wants to keep this one going, they have to take it just inside the Auburn 28. Crimson Tide leads it 10-6. Screen to the right. Dennis Riddle turns it up at the 40, 35 at the 30. He has the first down and almost a touchdown as he got tripped up by Brad Ware. How is that for a huge pickup of 20 yards?
Freddie Kitchens helps make this play with a good acting job, because he really brought a good fake. Sets up like he's going to throw. Now he drops back, hits Dennis Riddle on the quick screen, and now he picks up some very good blocking by Michael Ray, 62, and then hurdles for the first down.
Bowens with a good block downfield. Easy. Ware barely got a hand on him to trip him up. Pitch comes to Riddle. Nothing inside. Bounces it outside. Neal will catch him from behind. And he will be at around the 20-yard line, so a gain of about 3.
Well, the Auburn fans don't want to see Riddle and Freddie Kitchens together do what they're doing, because they were the heroes of the ball game last year. And now Freddie Kitchens with a strong, hot hand, and Dennis Riddle into the ball game, and a strong runner. The more he carries the ball, the tougher he gets, because he just becomes very strong and durable during a football game.
Mike, how is this for an interesting little turn of events? Kasher couldn't start at left corner tonight because of an ankle injury. Now Antoine Nolan for Auburn is injured. He's going to have to come out for at least a play because the trainers are out there. So they are going with backup corners. The 2 injured corners for Alabama are playing. They're hurt, but they're playing.
And they're playing lights out.
Yep. So it's a tough task for corners this week. And Kasher comes into the ball game. So we need to watch him closely. He's going to line up on the right side. He could hardly run. In fact, he did not work out. He watched practice from the sideline on Thursday. He's lined up against Gus, bottom of the screen.
There's that movement again. See, it causes Auburn all kind of movement after.
They go with the running play. Riddle opening to the left side, and he goes down at the 14. And let's check in with Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Guys, I can tell you right now that Alabama knows as well as we do now that Kasher is only about 50%. Even if they don't throw right at him, they're going to run right at him. He has a great deal of difficulty backpedaling, running forward, laterally. The staff over here tells me, as I say, he's about 50%, but he has to play because of the injury to Nolan.
Well, I know that he went straight to the training room at the advice of his defensive coordinator, Bill Oliver, on Thursday. And I think the youngster was going to try to run on his own on Friday just to see if he had mobility or enough to play anyway.
Ron, you know, when you watch this ball game unfold, we talked about early, and it's too early for this game to be decided. Both quarterbacks, it's been like opposites in this ballgame. Freddie Kitchens is playing with so much confidence and poise, and on the other side, Damian Craig has everything on his back and looks like he's playing tight and afraid to make a mistake in this ballgame. It's got one quarterback playing, he's wheeling it, freewheeling it. The other quarterback, just everything's on his shoulders.
You can see that furrowed brow just now when Damian on the sideline. This is the 11th play of the drive. Pitch goes to Alexander. Sean tries to turn the corner, and he will. Hurdles a man at the 5-3-2-1. Touchdown, Crimson Tide.
We got a good block from Ed Sissom, number 33.
Chris Kemp to attempt the extra point for Alabama. That's Tucker who is holding. Gets a good pass, and the kick is good. So there was a timeout on the field, and are you ready for this one? Alabama 17, Auburn 6. We'll be right back. 17-6 our score, and there are some shocked folks in this state right now. And Mike, I have to say, as I look at this bench right here, the Auburn bench we were talking during the timeout, it's just kind of dead. And across the field on the Alabama side, people are jumping and slapping each other on the back, and they are full of life. That better change or Auburn's going to get beat here tonight.
Ron, it's one team playing with pressure on their shoulders, another team playing having fun.
Marquise Cooper takes it out to the 27. For a moment there, it looked as though he might have fumbled, but that's not the case. So there's a timeout that's taken with him. 4:09 to play in the third quarter. Alabama by 11 shocking points. At Auburn, Alabama. 4 minutes, 9 seconds left to play third quarter. Auburn, huge favorite in this football game. And right now, even with an opportunity to win the West and head to Atlanta because Mississippi State got knocked off today, their arch rivals from Tuscaloosa are dominating this game ever since Freddie Kitchens came in the second quarter. Here's a blitz. Craig gets his pass away. He's got him open at the 45, and he breaks free. Tight end McLeod in the sideline, and he was knocked out of bounds inside the 30. That may be the play that gets him going. It's good for 41.
Well, when they're blitzing and you can't handle the corners with your wide receivers, then you try to work the tight end down the middle of the football field. Good fake to Rusty Williams. Pressure on Damian Craig. Finds his tight end, 43, Kevin McLeod. Big change of field position against Antoine Hunter. Auburn all year, Ron, been a quick strike offensive football team.
T.J. Dunnigan out over the football. Deepest penetration they've had since back in the first quarter, I believe, as this pass is caught. Bailey on his way at the 10-yard line. It'll be first and goal, Auburn. Townsend saved a touchdown.
Fernando Bryant, Karsten Bailey, they cleared out with Tyrone Goodson. There's Deshae Thompson making a tackle. Auburn trying to answer here.
22 yards in the play. And you know, Mike, he didn't throw that ball well. Bailey had to come back for it.
Didn't have a lot on it.
First and goal. The ball at the 9.5-yard line. And as Mike said, Auburn trying to answer. Here goes the running play. Rusty Williams left side at the 5, at the 3. Still fights his way, and he's down to the 2. That's Sigler, who caught onto him finally. Adrian, quickly, let's check in with you.
Ron, what's making the difference here as much as anything else is Damian Craig's enthusiasm, his on-the-field enthusiasm, the fire in his eyes that I described earlier today. His teammates can see it, and that keeps them up. You mentioned that Spikes his name wasn't mentioned tonight because he didn't see the enthusiasm. He affects so many other people offensively and defensively on the Auburn Tigers as he comes out of the game now to confer with Coach Bowden. But he has such a big effect on all the other guys on this team, and he's finally kicking in now.
Well, that was mentioned in our meeting with him yesterday, and the fact that his teammates look to him for that kind of guidance as Sigler is down and is injured on the play.
Ron, they cannot afford to lose Kelvin Ziegler. He is as good and has played as well tonight as any player.
What amazes me is gotten so cool tonight, and the way they are treating him, that's like it's cramps, right? And it seems impossible on a night this cool to have him, but it sure looks that way. As you look at Spikes on the sideline, and he's trying to pump people up over there.
You lose your rival game, and both these teams know that you have to live with it for 365 days. The winner celebrates. The loser gets ready for next year.
Kendall Simmons, the offensive guard, 73, is lined up in the backfield. That's Simmons in motion. They go right behind him, and Beasley to the 1-foot line will not get it in.
Another Alabama player down, but Fred Beasley is so good here at the goal line because he can go over the top. He has such an exceptional burst that when he hits the line of scrimmage, goes over the top, you'll see him right here on the belly. Now, he does try to go over the top here. Started a little bit too late to go over the top.
You see, actually, he hit T.J. Mears, his guard, and knocked him into the end zone. That's Hood, who was injured. And Chris, we have documented tonight, they were not sure he was going to be able to play, and if he did, how long he would be able to go. And he's on his all fours at the 5-yard line as the training staff confers with him. 2:33 to play, third quarter. Alabama by 11. And Auburn with their deepest penetration, actually, of the night. They had a 27-yard field goal and a 37-yard field goal back in the first half.
And Chris Hood has had to take over since Michael Myers' suspension. Michael Myers was as good a defensive lineman anybody in the country. Chris Hood used to benefit from the double teams on Michael Myers, but this year people have been double teaming Chris Hood.
Back to the line of scrimmage. Let's see if they follow Simmons again. Beasley over the top, touchdown Auburn.
You got to go for 2 here too. 17-12. They'll call a 2-point play. Try to get it within 3. Put the ball on the left hash, Ron. They'll move it over so they get some wide side of the field with which to work some type of pick play or some type of flood route.
5 plays, 72 yards in the drive by Auburn. And the big play was the 41-yard pass play to the tight end, McLeod.
Watch Beasley on this play.
Bailey in motion. Blitz off the corner. The pass hit Bailey right in the stomach. I'll tell you, both quarterbacks have had a ton of drop tonight, and particularly Auburn. Whoa.
Well, it's wide open.
Unattended, and he dropped it.
Fred Beasley talked about the nose he has when he gets down close to the goal line, being able to spring up and over. The extra point. Karsten Bailey, number 5, is coming in motion. He goes to the flat. Wide open. Ball thrown on time. Just didn't bring it in. Didn't concentrate on it. Second look. Took his eyes off of it. Just counting those 2 points a little too soon.
5 plays, 72 yards, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. And as we mentioned, the pass to McLeod was the big play. Beasley with the touchdown. And so Auburn now down by 5 points as they fail of the 2-point conversion. Jared Holmes to kick it off.
Now, Adrian Carson, I agree with him. Damian Craig, now that series played like Freddie Kitchens has played since he's come into the ball game.
Richard to the near side. Fernando Bryant to the far side. Here's Holmes' kick. And it's going to be Bryant, 5 yards deep, and his teammate says, nope, let's take it out at the 20. Well, coming up after this one, we'll send you out to San Diego for a battle in the WAC. Quarterback Moses Moreno leads the 22nd ranked Colorado State Rams against the San Diego State Aztecs. Standings in the WAC, well, things are very, very tight. Colorado State and Air Force, you see, have 1-2. In the Mountain Division, it's New Mexico. It will be heading to the WAC when this one is over. But this one is a long way from over. We have 17 minutes and 9 seconds. And listen to the crowd. The students are up and roaring. Kitchens to Jackson, right over the middle. That will quiet the crowd as he hits him at the 42.
Well, what Freddie Kitchens just said with that pass is sit down. There's too much noise in here, and I'm going to silence you. But Freddie Kitchens has had a great night. He couldn't play any better than he's played tonight. Quincy Jackson on a post route. Freddie Kitchens with good protection. Now remember, the offensive line of Alabama is keeping people off of him all night. He's been able to sit back and dissect this secondary of Auburn.
There we go. Look at the tight end again. Alexander, this is Sean, breaks it up the middle, and he's close to a 10-yard gain on the play. Rob paid on the tackle along with Dunlap. And let's check it again with Adrian.
Head coach Mike DuBose singled out Freddie Kitchens in the locker room at halftime. He told the rest of his team, yeah, we remember 1984 and all the similarities, but this is the kind of leadership we expect at Alabama. A senior who was basically benched for his last 2 games, continued to work hard, came in, watched film, worked overtime, and now he's leading this game and leading the team.
Well, you're always looking for role players, Ron. 28 plays, 213 yards, and 17 points since he's entered this football game.
10 of those points, 10 that they have tonight, have come off Auburn turnovers. Sean Alexander, right side, going to have 5, breaks it out, has 10, still on his feet. He's going to have close to 15 yards, which gives him like 25 yards on 2 carries. And this is the point that we were making, that with these running backs, but particularly him, he's your super home run hitter.
And they're running out of the I formation, 2 backs in the backfield. They get a good block from Sism, the fullback, and they have just turned loose a running game. But there's more to this football game. I think that the Alabama coaches offensively know Bill Oliver. They were together with him. They know what he's doing. They're trying to outflank him. They're trying to give him problems with movement.
3 carries for Sean for 33 yards and a touchdown. So an average of 11 yards per try. As they go again, Nate Smith will step up to make the tackle. And it was Dennis Riddle who got the call that time.
Ron, as Adrian was talking about Mike DuBose making a point about Freddie Kitchens at halftime, as a football coach, when you bench somebody, they can go one of 2 ways. They can mope and sit around and sulk, or they can come in and be ready to go. And I think you're seeing what Freddie Kitchens did all week. Even though he didn't get the practice snaps, he mentally was in the practice and ready to play in the game. And Lance Tucker's right over there because both of them won nothing more than a victory here tonight.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter. So let's take a timeout with our score as we head to the final 15. Alabama 17 and Auburn 12. "15 minutes of football left here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Alabama with the football. 2nd and 7. The ball is at the Auburn 33-yard line. Jackson in motion. They go to the running play, and Sean Alexander pops his way down inside the 30 to the 29. It's Martavius Houston who will finally stop him. But as good as all 3 of these backs are, Riddle and Curtis Alexander, I think Sean gives you a tad more size, but a bigger, quicker burst. Don't you, Mike?
We've seen him against LSU, and he was unstoppable that night. But I think all 3 have a spot in this offense, and right now they're going with Sean.
High formation. Sism the fullback. Sean Alexander, left side, got tripped up at the line of scrimmage as he found the crease, and he has the 1st down at the 25-yard line.
Ron, defensive statistics, when you look at Auburn, their tackle leaders, Ricky Neal, one of the linebackers, has 6, but Takeo Spikes 3 tackles tonight. So Alabama has been able to scheme and work against the best linebacker, Takeo Spikes, and not made him a factor in this ball game tonight to this point.
1st and 10 as they move to sticks.
There's that movement again. Let's give an Auburn problem.
Awesome motion. Kitchens throws back to him right over the middle. Cuts it back into the middle. He's going to be tackled at the 21. That is Neal. Goss in motion, brought him across, hit him, he reversed it, and he's a possession-type receiver.
Yeah, former quarterback, former walk-on, but the movement is still giving Auburn problems. When the tight end moves, watch all the Auburn defensive players move. And then all of a sudden you get movement out of Chad Goss. So you're trying to confuse them with movement every play.
Goss again in motion, but they give it to Sean Alexander. Could not get by his own blocker. And Neal and Ware stuffed the play.
Brad Ware's the safety, the free safety. He is so tight on that play. They know they have to stop the run. The more times you see the tight end move, the more time you see the flanker motion, and he sets up the run to the weak side. And Brad Ware just was moving up on that play, and there was no place to run the football.
Sell the situation. 3rd down and 6. To keep it going, they've got to take it to the Auburn 16-yard line. They lead it 17-12 as we have 12 and a half minutes left in this 60-second Iron Bowl. That's Jackson in motion. Here comes the blitz up the middle. Spikes with pressure, and he drops the football. Hall had it hit him right in the chest. And as we said, it was Spikes who was coming pell-mell right up the middle.
And Ron, now the kicking game becomes very important again. You're on the Alabama sideline. You just, you know the problems you've had this year. Calvin Hall's right in his hands, and the 2 receivers, Shamari Buchanan real close to him.
So this is a 38-yard attempt. That's Tucker holding. Low pass from center. The kick is long enough, and it's no good. Alabama could have made it an 8-point ball game, but the kicking game puts them in jeopardy for the moment. Timeout on the field. 12-12 left in our ball game. We'll be right back. ESPN's presentation of college football, Alabama versus Auburn, is brought to you by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten coming to you from Auburn, Alabama. Over on the sideline, some mind games. Chris Kemp, all of his teammates coming over saying, hey, don't worry about it. You missed a field goal attempt. It's happened before. It'll happen again.
And they know it may come down to a kick by him.
Could come. You're exactly right.
So you don't want him to go in the tank.
Damian Craig with a first down at the 20. Straight ahead running play. Williams breaks it open. Spins off a tackle. Should have been tackled after 4. It's going to be an 8-yard gain. Tony Dixon will make the stop. And let's check in with Carl Ravitch. Carl?
Ron, just a reminder, the reason Auburn is playing for its own destiny, Mississippi State struggled today. Clint Sterner finds Anthony Lucas. Mississippi State jumped by 10 to Arkansas. It's all in Auburn's hands, Ron.
Okay. You know, a strange turn of events on this last drive by Alabama. A pass that hit Hall almost right in the face, and he dropped it. And also, Spikes hit the quarterback and knocked him down. That's the first time in the entire ballgame as we got movement and flags are down. So another key in the ballgame, and Alabama has done a nice job of protecting their quarterback, rolling them, getting them in a protected situation.
They really have, Ron. And this is Kenny Smith jumping off sides here for Alabama.
That's a first down.
I want to go back to Danny Ford. That's a big win for Danny Ford today. You know, a lot of talk that Danny Ford's not going to be back at Arkansas, but I believe he will be back.
Now that last drive, here's the pass. It hit Hall right in the face. Couldn't catch it, and the field goal attempt, I mean, it just hooked at the last minute.
Didn't miss by much,
no,
but it missed.
Sure didn't. It looked like a drive. It might have been hit on that Robert Trent Jones trail of golf that runs through here. That thing had a nice hook on it, but at the wrong time for a field goal. Craig, play action, puts it on his hip, gets his pass for Bailey, caught it, and a flag is down. It's going to be pass interference as well on Bryant. Caught it for 16 yards.
Ron, you're seeing a better display of quarterbacking by Damian Craig here. He has gotten hot. He has the feel for the game now.
Interference on the defense. Penalties refused.
Penalties refused because they picked up 16 yards. So Auburn with a first down, and they're going to put the ball just short of midfield.
And here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to let Damian Craig outside, especially to the right side. Throw and a great catch by Karsten Bailey.
Auburn in an I formation. Rusty Williams, nothing to the left, tries to break it back into the middle. He'll fight his way for a couple of yards. Carroll is the man who makes the tackle. We called his name a lot tonight.
Freshman linebacker has played real well, and the defensive coaches were talking about him the other day, Ellis Johnson, that he's had a problem. The problem he has is he has to set the defense. He has to get the calls. He has to set. He has to make the adjustments, and he's a freshman. And it's been very difficult for him.
Alabama 17, Auburn 12. Auburn a 2-touchdown favorite in this ball game. And the Crimson Tide led in the second half in all 3 previous games played here at Auburn. As he rolls it past, missed by Bailey. It hit him in the hands. And there was a flag down, and this may be roughing on Kenny Smith. He did take a shot at Damian Craig, and that's going to be the call.
Ron, I believe now this was really a late hit. The ball was gone, and penalties now starting to hurt Alabama.
Got a personal foul, late hit, roughing the quarterback. It's going to be from the line of scrimmage, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Was the play as Damian Craig rose to the left, trying to get the ball to Carson Bailey.
Wasn't Kenny, actually. The defensive back came up and made.
I think it was Tony Dixon, number 24.
Tony Dixon, you're right. I apologize to Kenny. I thought it was him who got it, but it was Dixon. Miscalled his name. 10:04 to play. 5-point lead by Alabama. And Auburn on the move again. They fake the run. Pressure up the middle by Smith. And Craig going to throw it. Has it complete. Rusty Williams at the 15. It'll be a first down Auburn.
Well, Mike DeBose is just yelling at the officials. He wanted holding. Alabama got penetration. And Mike DeBose is not happy with that not being called. See if we can pick it up here. Damian Craig, number 99. That's DeMarcus Curry tackling Eric Curley, number 99. But got away with it.
1st and 10, Auburn Tigers, 18 yards in the pass play as the clock runs. About to hit 9.5 minutes to play in this one.
Well, it's been a good drive by Auburn.
Pitch to Williams. He's going to throw it back to Craig, or wanted to. Throws the ball and couldn't hold on.
Well, they're very fortunate. Chris Hood, number 34, in coverage, but he was falling down, or he'd have been in pretty good shape to try to intercept the football. Damian Craig really made a great effort to try to catch it. Pitch out to Rusty Williams going to the left side. Damian Craig coming out, but Chris Hood stayed at home. But he falls down just at the last second. And a game of inches tonight.
Rusty Williams, a sophomore out of Moncks Corner, South Carolina, southpaw, attempting the pass. It'll be 2nd and 10. Craig sets up the screen. He just threw this one away. That's a smart veteran play right there. Threw it at the feet of Beasley because Wagner was coming after him real quick.
Yeah, and Clint Wagner is 6'6", and he got his hands up on the pass rush. He read screen right away and didn't want to give a clear throw to Damian Craig. Well, the missed 2-point play, the missed field goal by Alabama, and Auburn's going to take a timeout.
Auburn calls timeout. 9:17 left in our ball game. Alabama continuing to lead by 5. We'll be right back. 17-12 our score. There have been upsets before in this one in the Iron Bowl. Alabama in 90. Alabama in 85 and in 84, the game that Adrian talked about off the top of the telecast, where almost an identical situation of Auburn being ranked. Alabama only had 4 victories, and they got the upset win. 3rd down, line to make for 4.5. Pressure up the middle. Craig drills it. Couldn't hold on at the goal line. Hicks poured. Sigler on the cover.
Sigler's been there all night. Got hurt a little while ago. Has come back on the field. Good pressure by Alabama on Damian Craig. There's the pressure. Damian Craig ducks underneath. And there's the good close right there by Kelvin Ziegler.
Going to be a 31-yard field goal attempt by Jared Holmes. Good pass. Kick on the way, and he's got it. 3 of 3 tonight. 27 yards, 37 yards, and now add 31 yards. So let's go away for a moment. Our new score, Alabama 17, Auburn 15, with 9:06 to play. 17-15, the identical score that was final in the '84 game. As you look at Freddie Kitchens, didn't start the game tonight, but he has been the difference maker for Alabama. And here's the difference maker for the Auburn Tigers, Damian Craig. And the importance of this game is Damian just trying to walk it off and unload some of the pressure right now. Holmes kickoff. Got underneath this one. Going to be very short. Taken at the 10-yard line. Richard. And he fights out to the 30. Women's college basketball coming up tomorrow afternoon. State Farm Tip-Off Classic from Champaign on the Deuce at 12:30. North Carolina and their Player of the Year Tracy Reed will take on the Florida Lady Gators. Then the second game back here on ESPN. Old Dominion will meet Illinois at 3 Eastern. That's the State Farm Tip-Off Classic tomorrow afternoon. Takeo Spikes. You look into his eyes as he looks into the eyes of Freddie Kitchens. Pitch comes to Alexander. Sean tries to turn the corner. Going to be knocked down for about a half-yard loss, and it's Ricky Neal and Jeff Dunlap on the stop. And let's go back to Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
With the kind of night that Sean Alexander is having, saved that one play, Ron, and with the kind of records he holds at Alabama coming into this game, well, why hasn't he carried the ball in over a month? A couple of reasons. Had a sprained foot, hasn't practiced for 2 weeks. But also, to say that he was in the doghouse with Coach DuBose would be an understatement, because he would not identify just exactly what the problem was, but he said he will not play in this game based on ability alone. But you might have to think now he's redeemed himself, Ron.
Yeah, he's gotten some attention on the sideline. There's no question about that. They fake it to him. Kitchens being hit. Loses the football. Auburn recovers.
Charles Dorsey, number 91, knocked the ball out of the hands of Freddie Kitchens.
They say Alabama got back in the football. I beg your pardon. 2 Auburn players converged on the football, and Rutledge may have taken it away from both. Or somebody did at the bottom of the pile. It looks as though Kitchens got in there to make the recovery.
Charles Dorsey just tried to strip Freddie Kitchens once he decided to run with the football. Fakes the throw, nothing's open, decides to run. Number 91, Charles Dorsey, just knocks the ball in his hands. Look at Freddie Kitchens, the effort. He never gave up. A lot of pulling and tugging underneath that pile.
Third down. They need to move it to the 40-yard line to keep this drive going. Sean Alexander tries to cut it back, fights his way, extended the football, and let's see where they're going to mark him down. Spikes and Martavius Houston on the tackle.
When he extended that ball, I think he made the first down. Now, depending on the spot, they're not going to give it to him. Fourth down, Alabama's got to ask for a measurement here. Stretch the ball out past the line. The ball come out, but they're not going to give it to him. They're going to punt the football.
Cooper late coming on the field. I'm not sure that Auburn believed that the Crimson Tide was going to punt the football. This is the 6th punt. First one of the second half, though. This is his best of the night, maybe the best of the season. At the 5 and goes out of bounds at the 1.5-yard line. Are you kidding me? 59 yards on the boot. So it's 6:18 left in the ball game. Auburn takes it over after nearly recovering a fumble just a moment ago. in Alabama territory, and now they're going to have to scrimmage with their backs lined up in their own end zone.
Well, Ron, we had the drive last year that Alabama took the ball down the field. Freddie Kitchens hit Dennis Riddle on the touchdown. Now Damian Craig gets that same opportunity with 6:18 to go on the clock.
Craig, short drop, throws the pass well off the mark of Bailey.
It's a tough spot for Auburn, Ron, because they haven't been running the ball very well tonight. So you almost have to rely on Damian Craig to get it out of here by throwing the football.
Well, the freshman, Devontae Carter, who was the hero last week, fumbled back in the first half, and we were just talking about he may not carry it again until spring practice.
Spring practice the next time he's on the field, or the bowl game. You know, he may get some bowl practice, and he'll be back. He'll get another shot because he's got too much ability.
Hands it out to Beasley. And the senior fullback will take it out to the 5-yard line. Panks makes the tackle on him. Now the clock about to go under 6 minutes.
I think the important thing here, Auburn has 2 timeouts. Alabama still has their full complement of 3 timeouts, but this is a big play right here.
Boy, the 2 things that come to mind as far as huge plays in this football game, how Spikes missed recovering the fumble down here, and Freddie Kitchens took it away from him, and then that 59-yard punt just a moment ago by Daniel Pope. Right now is the play of the football game.
Everybody talks about Freddie Kitchens' weight. It helped him there because he was able, the strength to pull that ball away.
Craig on 3rd down. Lobs it, got him open. Right over the middle to Hicks 4. That'll move the chains. Good for 15.
Expect your senior quarterback to do it. And Damian Craig hits a big 3rd down play to Hicks 4. And the drive has now started. Alabama with no pressure. Good blocking by the Auburn offensive line. Hicks 4 wide open over the middle.
4 catches for 48 yards for Poor. 12 of 27, 196, and 2 interceptions tonight. One of those for sure should have been caught, but it went off the hands of Goodson. Williams gets it outside, finally bumped out of bounds by Sigler, and that'll stop the clock at just under 5 minutes to play in this one.
Well, you got to, if you're Auburn, you're thinking field goal with 4:57 to go on the clock.
On the bench, the Alabama offensive line getting a break and a breather, talking it over, hoping that they get to come back on the field with still a lead. 2nd and 5. Pitch to Williams, nothing outside. Cuts it back into the middle and is going to wind up with about 3 yards. Tony Dixon makes the tackle.
Good pursuit and a good cutback by Rusty Williams on that play. Sets up another 3rd down play that Damian Craig must deliver.
Well, Mike, if we look ahead to a situation where Auburn gets it in field goal range, what's the longest for Jared Holmes? 45 this year against Arkansas. His career long was 50 in 1996 against Alabama Birmingham.
And he's got a strong leg. We've seen it tonight.
Craig lobs the pass, has it complete. Goodson made the catch, pushed out of bounds out of the 37-yard line. So now the drive has covered a total of 36 yards because they started it officially at their own 1, although it was the 1.5.
And it continues again, just like last year. Freddie Kitchens took his team down the field. Damian Craig has that same opportunity tonight. Tyrone Goodson, 83 on an out route. They cleared out on the outside. Hicks 4. There's the catch. Deshae Townsend waiting for the tackle. Carlton Person, 87, also in on the tackle.
Damian Craig, pressure on him, going to have to hurry. Gets away, going to go long. Karsten Bailey, and he got pushed down. 1, 2, 3, 4 flags.
Fernando Bryant. This is, Ron, where your confidence of your ball club when you're 4-6 comes into play a little bit here. They've had so many losses this year and so many tough plays here. Fernando Bryant just gets ran by Karsten Bailey, and then he puts his hands on him.
You know, Mike, if Bailey catches that ball for the touchdown, the 15-yard penalty is not bad, though. When the youngster's so banged up, he couldn't have caught him. So to give him the benefit of the doubt, you say you can't blame him.
No, and he got beat at the line of scrimmage. Once he got faked out at the line of scrimmage, and then he was behind Karsten Bailey. Couldn't catch up, made the move to pass interference.
This is a season high in penalties against Alabama tonight. 111 penalty yards, and now a timeout has been taken by Alabama. 4:02 left in the ball game. Crimson Tide by a couple. Let's take a timeout.
Just a couple of minutes away from kickoff at San Diego State as we take you from Pope in Alabama to Moses in Colorado State. Colorado State holds its own destiny as they try to win the WAC.
17-15 our score. And as we look up at the scoreboard, both teams with 2 timeouts left. 4 minutes, 2 seconds left in this one. And it seemed like just 1 year ago we were talking about a come-from-behind situation by the Crimson Tide. Tonight, Auburn trying to do it. Craig, heavy pressure. Gonna be hit from behind. Travis Carroll, it's a wonder that he held on to the football. 3 times he's been sacked.
And Travis Carroll came from the backside after Damian Craig started to move. Now, Damian Craig hasn't ran the ball much tonight, the first play. He's been looking for the pass. He has good scrambling ability.
8 tackles for number 44, Travis Carroll tonight, the freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida.
And Ron, Deshae Townsend is out of the ball game now, so Antoine Hunter is in.
2nd down and 13. Pass over the middle, right in the hands of Gibson, and he dropped it.
Oh, I tell you, not only did he drop it, he took a heck of a hit from Anton Hunter, number 39, after he dropped the football. There's been a lot of drop passes, both sides tonight. Number 39, Anton Hunter. And plus the linebacker.
And both of them were very close to being late on the hit.
Yeah, Marcus Spencer, 41, another freshman. Great days ahead for Alabama with all these freshmen playing on defense.
3rd down. They need to take the football to the 37.5-yard line. Clock shows 3:12 left to play. Blitz up the middle. Pressure is on. Pass is in and out of the hands of Bailey.
Now, Ron, decision time for Terry Bowden. Do you punt the football?
No.
At 3:06, you still got your 2 timeouts left. He's got a tough decision right here.
Well, they're calling for the punt team.
I don't think this is a bad move at all. I really don't. But they're going to have to stop Alabama. They got to pin them down. They need a field goal to win. They still have 2 timeouts. I don't think this is a bad move at all.
4th down. As we said, they need to take it just inside the 38-yard line, so it's about 13.5 yards. And Holmes will see if he can get a good pooch kick away. Hanging spiral. Going to bound at the 20, and it's just going to die right there inside the 20-yard line. Now, with 2:55 to play, it is incumbent upon that Bill Oliver defense to make a stop in at least 3. Well, next Saturday night, we'll have another state rivalry game for you at 5:30 Eastern Time. The Virginia Tech Hokies looking to bounce back against the Virginia Cavaliers. Then Notre Dame needs a win to stay above 500 and remain bowl eligible as they travel to the islands to take on Hawaii.
Ron, Joe Gibbs used to talk about when he was at the Washington Redskins that you have to practice playing and running the football against 10 and 11 men, because that's what's going to happen in this drive. They're going to keep everybody up for the run.
Sean Alexander He is going to move the stack for about 3, almost 4 yards as Spikes and Reese combined on the stop. Now that clock is going to seem like it's on fast forward if you're an Auburn Tiger fan.
After this play, they'll use a timeout.
2nd and 7 for Alabama.
They need to hold Alabama right here. Alabama needs a first down to put this away. Auburn needs a stop.
Pickens letting that play clock get all of the way down to 3, down to 2. Pitches John Alexander. Pressure. Could he turn the corner? Yes. Has the first down as he'll take it across the 30, out to the 34, and credit Ed Sissom, number 33, the fullback, with paving the way for the first down.
Ron, Ed Sissom tonight has had a great night blocking for Alabama. When they go to the I formation, they have been dangerous running the football. That's their best set to run the football. The pitch, number 33, Ed Sissom gets the lead block. Sean Alexander shows you he's got fresh legs. The first down.
Sean Alexander the other direction.
They got to use their timeout now.
This time he is hit by Marcus Washington and knocked down, and they will use the timeout to stop the clock with 1:35 left. So let's go away for a moment. Alabama with a 2-point margin and 95 seconds to burn. Now, what does the Iron Bowl mean? Well, those two trainers just walked up in front of quarterback Damian Craig, but he has his back to the field. He cannot bear to watch because only 95 seconds left, and as he mentioned to us, he's a senior. He doesn't get another shot. And the Crimson Tide leading by a couple. Straight up the middle. Alexander going to have 3 yards maybe. They push him back.
They got to use their last time out here. They're going to let it run. Use it after the third down play. Ron, when you decide, the decision for Terry Bowden was a tough one. He had 4th and 10, so it comes down to, do you want to go for it in 4th and 10, or do you want to try to pin him in the hole? But when you do punt the football, your defense must hold them in those 3 plays, and they have not been able to do that. Now, if they hold them here, they'll use that timeout and still get a chance to get the football back.
Well, that's the reason I said when they made the change that they better do the stop at a minimum of 3, or they were in hurt, and they are in hurt right now. 51 seconds and down to 50. Kitchen reverses it out, throws the ball to Sissom, loses the football. Auburn recovers at the 33. Reese comes up with the football.
And it's going to come down to Jared Holmes deciding to throw the screen on 3rd down.
And it was Martavius Houston who knocked it loose.
Auburn still has to get a little closer for Jared Holmes.
Running play. Williams takes it up the middle, inside the 30 to about the 29.5-yard line. Now, we mentioned for Jared Holmes, his longest this season is 45 yards. His longest career is 50. And a timeout has been taken by Auburn. Their final timeout. 31 seconds left of the ball game. We'll be right back. Time is back in. Craig throws the ball, has it complete, got out of bounds inside the 23-yard line at the 22.5 as Hicks score. Now they are well within field goal range for Jared Holmes. But you know that Terry Bowden would like to take at least one strike at the end zone, if possible.
The problem, Ron, is 26 seconds to go and you have no timeouts left. Now, teams have practiced always running the kicker out. Be interesting, this call.
Somebody's got to get off. Here comes Hicks-Poor out of the game.
Yeah, they're confused.
Yeah, they had too many people in the ball game. Now McLeod comes out, the tight end. Shotgun formation. Plenty of time. Blitz up the middle. Pass is thrown too far for Bailey. And that stops it with 22 ticks.
I think Mike DeBose is on the sideline. He's going after the official because there were so many players in the huddle that they could have been called for a late substitution on that thing.
And of course, Mike, what you got to consider right here, which Auburn has to be careful of, you'd almost look for a running play, because if they have a pass play and get called for holding, then all of a sudden Jared Holmes could be backed up out of field goal range.
Well, they're real confused again because Jared Holmes started. But the problem was, if you run the football around, you've got to kill it.
Play clock down to 4, down to 3, down to 2, and they just ground the football to stop the clock. And Holmes is going to come on. Jared Holmes will come on and attempt a field goal from where the line of scrimmage is. This is going to be around 39, 40 yards.
Ron, the best field goal blocker for Alabama is Deshae Townsend. Now he'll come off the corner. Alabama's going to use a timeout now to try to ISO Jared Holmes. The number 2 becomes the most important defensive player for Alabama coming off the corner.
The other folks that are most important when you look at the special teams is Brent Turner, who is the long snapper, Jeremy Zills, who is the holder, and of course for Jared Holmes, he has been good 3 times tonight. 3 of 3, 27, 37, and 31 yards.
Well, you talked about the swing of emotions in this ball game, and I mean this ball game, Damian Craig was sitting on the bench looking the other way, and it didn't look good for them. Then the turnover, and here Auburn with 21 seconds to go gets a chance to win it on Jared Holmes' field goal attempt.
Well, it was interesting on Thursday that an Auburn fan told us when we arrived in town, he said, you know, the worst thing that could happen to us is to lose to Alabama. And then the guy said, no, actually, what would be worse is to lose to Alabama in Auburn. He said, no, then the worst thing would be to lose to Alabama and Auburn, and they're 4-6. So right now it's on the line. They have an opportunity, and it looks as though they're going to try to ice him again.
Yeah, they're going to spend their last time out.
Ty Goodson on the sideline.
What this does, Ron, is wear out the water boys and girls. They've been out in the field now 3 times and with that water.
And let's check in with Adrian Karsten down on the sideline. Adrian?
Quickly, Ron, I'll just tell you, I kept a very close eye on young Mr. Holmes in pregame warm-up. His longest, 40 yards. Now, there is a little bit of a breeze blowing in his face. Should not affect the kick. But as I say, nothing beyond 40 yards that he made in pregame warm-up.
Well, Adrian, on the one that he kicked, there was 37, and he was very strong on that one. But the weather has changed just a little bit as this game is going on, and he does have just a little bit of a breeze.
You know, the coaches at Auburn talked about yesterday. They said every game, it's a game of. It's going to be a game of this field goal kick right here.
So here's the ball game. 21 seconds left. Holmes to attempt the field goal from the left hash mark. Good pass. Got the distance. He is good. One more look. Jared Holmes, 2 timeouts. Well, Mike, how much pressure?
He nailed it right down the middle. Ron, we're showing Ed's system there. He played a great football game tonight. And when you look at back at this ball game, you can't look at one play. You look at the missed opportunities that Alabama had earlier in the ball game, and out play with Ed's system anytime.
Here's the kickoff. It's on the ground. It will be fielded at the 21-yard line, and it's Sisson. Bounces off the tackler, still alive. Here comes a flag, and now the second flag, and Sisson, running like a man possessed, got hit twice extremely hard and took it to the 45.
And they may get him for a face mask too. But the problem, it took a lot of time.
And the other problem is Alabama does not have a distance kicking game.
As I said, I'll play with those Ed Sissons all the time because they give you effort.
Face mask. It's the blue. The 15-yard penalty.
15-yard penalty to boot.
Boy, that's going to move this thing. This happened at the 45-yard line because of a good second and third effort, and this is going to take it all the way to the Auburn 40.
Ron, this is what a winner this kid is, Ed Sisson. He will not be brought down. There's 6 guys have a chance at him, plus the face mask.
Well, tonight's Visa players of the game are from Alabama, Freddie Kitchens, and from Auburn, Jared Holmes. And as part of their continued effort to further the development of amateur athletics, Visa proud to donate $1,000 on behalf of these 2 athletes to their school's General Scholarship Fund. Sisson is up and is going off the field under his own power. And the brain trust for Alabama looking up at 6 seconds in the ball game.
You got 3 choices. 1, kick a field goal. We know they're not going to do that. 2, you throw the ball deep down the field and hope you get some kind of pass interference or get it in the end zone. 3, throw a quick out, try to set up a field goal.
One of the things on Thursday when Auburn worked on late desperation Hail Mary passes was all the defensive coaches saying, whatever you do, don't tip the ball, don't try to intercept it, knock it to the ground.
They're going to try the field goal. His first career field goal attempt. I can't think of a tougher place and a tougher time.
A 57-yard attempt for the Alabama win. A.J. Diaz. Good pass. Ball is down. Does he have the distance? No. It is in the end zone. Short. And the Auburn Tigers have come from behind to win. Again, the final score, Auburn 18 and Alabama 17. For Mike Gottfried, Adrian Karsten, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Ron Franklin. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now let's head out to San Diego, California. Here's Dave Barnett. Dave.